welcome to the Australian Formula Ford eChallenge. My name is Icky Harrington and I'm the Category Manager of the Australian Formula Ford Championship. Normally at this time of the year we'd be racing real cars on real tracks, but unfortunately that's not possible this year. So to fill the void, we're about to go racing in the virtual world. The drivers you'll watch in our eChallenge are actual competitors from our national, state and historic championships. We've also got a great mix of past competitors, champions and guys who have gone on to compete in all sorts of other categories. Adding to the mix, we've got young go-karters who dream of careers in motorsport and see Formula Ford as the best place to make their transition into cars. Joining us also will be some big names from Porsche Carrera Cup and supercars. When we go to the track in a minute, you might think it's a bit odd that we're racing in Formula Renault 2.0 cars. The reason for that is that iRacing doesn't have a Formula Ford, so the next best thing for us is the Formula Renault. And as race car drivers, we always want to race the next fastest thing, and in this case, we're going to be racing the Formula Renault car. Now, it's also got a similarity to the Formula Ford 2000 of years gone by, which is also slicks and wings and powered by a 2-litre engine. I'd also like to give you a quick update on the actual Australian Formula Ford Championship. Unfortunately, due to coronavirus restrictions, we've had to either cancel or postpone the first couple of rounds of the championship. Unfortunately, we don't know how the next couple of months are going to roll out, but what I can assure you is that as soon as we can go racing again, we will fashion the best championship we can out of the remaining opportunities during the year. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy all the action from the Australian Formula Ford eChallenge.
G'day race fans and welcome to the Australian Formula Ford eChallenge round number 3 this evening from Monza. And what a great circuit this is. We've already got a few guys out there on the track setting some absolutely blistering times, and we're going to see a fair bit of slipstreaming and overtaking, I reckon, at this racetrack tonight. And these Formula Ford guys, like Icky said in the intro there, they've been itching to get out there and race on the real racetrack, and in the meantime all we can do is the virtual world. But I reckon I'll be back out there soon. It's good to see some restrictions easing here in Australia, and we're starting to see some real cars get back out onto the real racetracks, and that's what we do want to see. So in the meantime though, let's get down to the racetrack and have a look at some of the competitors already setting some times. It's Cooper Allen at the top, currently out there on the racetrack, just going through the parabolica for Cooper Allen Motorsport, and at the moment his race time is right up there at 1 minute 51.28. We've got a few guests in here tonight as well, and I did see that Nick Percat was out there on the racetrack. We're going to catch up with Nick later on and do a little bit of an interview with him as well. He's just slowed the car up there on the pit straight, so we'll flick across to a few different drivers, and it's great to have you on board tonight for this event. Make sure you jump on the chat, get involved. I'll try and reference the chat on the Lucas Esports site as much as I can, and get you guys involved in the broadcast, because that always makes it a little bit of fun as well. Got a few new camera angles tonight as well, including this great one that shows from the exhaust of the car underneath the rear wing. We'll get a lot of the action as caught us there. He's tucked up with McHugh is right behind him, so you're going to see a fair bit of this tonight, and I reckon we'll get 3 or 4 wide down into turn 1, and let's hope they can be well behaved when they do go down into that first corner, because there's going to be a fair bit of squishing and barging and trying to get up a few different places at the start of the race. As always, that's the racer in all of them. Will come out, I'm sure. Nick Percat out on the racetrack now. Let's jump on board with Nick for a little bit. We'll get rid of the music, and we'll get you down to the sights and sounds of these fantastic little Formula Renaults as they go around here. And a big thanks once again to the Formula Ford Association for putting on this event here at Monza, the 3rd round of 5. So we've got 2 more to go after this. Riding on board now with Nick Percat. Let's have a look at how he's going at the moment. He's currently in 10th position as he adapts to something a little bit different. And these cars, like I've said each week, do take a bit of getting used to in iRacing. They're a little bit snappy in the rear end, so you're going to have to make sure you stay off those sausage curves today. You'll see a fair few of those curbs placed around this racetrack to stop people taking advantage of the runoff areas. We saw a huge crash there in Formula 3 about a year or 2 ago, wasn't it? It went right up into the barrier there. It was a massive crash down at this very corner, the Parabolica, which is one of the most famous corners on this racetrack. And we do have a few of them. The Ascari Chicane, one of my favourite, turn 8, 9 and 10. That section of the racetrack is one of my favourite parts of any racetrack around the world. And we'll see a lot of cars go through there at absolutely screaming high speed today. They're about 30 seconds off the lap record as far as we look at a Formula One time around here. Rubens Barrichello was the man that has and still holds that lap record at Monza. As I just referenced my notes here, 1 minute 21.0 was Rubens Barrichello, one of my favourite F1 drivers, all the way back in 2004. So that record's still standing there at Monza for the modern Grand Prix circuit. Pretty cool indeed. We'll flick through a few of your favourite drivers. Joshua Jackson's out there right now. Cody Donald just going down the main straight. We've got a few curb cam shots today as well, including this nice shot from up in our booth where our race director will be standing for the start of this event, as we're almost 20 minutes to go in practice. Then we get into a fantastic qualifying session. These drivers will have to get out there and try and set a lap without getting caught in traffic, and it's one of those ones where you can gamble. You can try and find a slipstream, find a tow. You might make up some time, but you can also have your lap very, very quickly destroyed, and often not worth the gamble. We see that in Formula One year in, year out with the teams trying to gamble on a slipstream, and quite often they end up going a little bit backwards. So anyway, we're going to see how we go here with about, like I say, 20 minutes to go. We'll start to do a few interviews soon, and we'll get a few of these drivers in to chat about how they're going. We've got Ryder Quinn out there for the first time joining us, and he's out there in the number 11 car tonight. So there he is, nice yellow paintwork. You won't miss him out on the racetrack. We'll get some of these close-up to the wall camera angles as well. It almost looks like he's got a Daniel Ricciardo style helmet on there. Let me just see if we can get a close-up and have a look, possibly from an onboard shot. We'll try this one here. There you go. So it's a bit zoomed in. Oh no, it's just the bright colours. That looks very cool indeed. So get lots of these onboard shots tonight once they do get racing wheel to wheel, and it'll be fun just to bring you that action. Good circuit this. We might go for a little bit of a fly in the drone eventually, just to show you some of the historic parts of the racetrack, including the oval section, which is sort of fallen apart in modern days, but they have modelled it in iRacing, and you can go around there. There's an option to create the circuit with the oval part attached, and it's actually a lot of fun. I've seen a few different races there where they run this main Grand Prix circuit, and then they jump into that oval circuit as well. So it gets pretty crazy indeed. Some massive high speeds are achieved around this racetrack, and we're going to see that today. We'll try and jump on board with the car as it goes down the big long straightaway and see where they're getting up to with their top speeds. It'll be interesting to note these little Formula 2000s, what they can actually do in a straight line. Steve White's out on the racetrack. There he is. Let's jump on board with Steve as we head down the main straight. We'll get that dashboard up for you right now, and you'll see what sort of speed he is getting. 240 kilometres an hour, roughly around there, as he gets hard on the brakes now into what is turn 1 and 2, this really sharp chicane with those sausage curves which we've talked about. You need to be really careful there. We've got a car off the road just ahead. Might have been Cooper Allen just ejecting back to the pits. Yeah, so it's super important to make sure you get your braking zone right, and I'm a bit nervous, I've got to say. I'm going to cross my fingers, my toes, my legs, everything when they all go down into that first corner. We're going to have about 30 to 35 cars this evening. Red mist, visors down in the virtual world, going straight down into turn 1, nothing to lose. Let's hope they can all pop out the other side and do it all cleanly, which is the main thing. Kyle Evans out there on the racetrack. There is Kyle. Just watching him go past our camera now. And Cody Bircher, he's been quick, hasn't he, in the Tony Lay entry for Synergy Motorsport. He's definitely been really quick in the second race of both events we've had so far, round 1 and round 2. He's come on very strong in the second part of the event. Zach Bates also doing a nice job currently up there in second position. There is Zach in the very, very dark number 20 car out there on the racetrack. The ZB on the side for Zach Bates, son of Rick Bates, and he's doing a nice job as well, already underway racing around there out on the track. Now we're going to have a few interviews tonight, including one very shortly. I'm going to pop that up now, and this is from a star of Formula Ford who's gone on to big things, and we see him on the telly a fair bit still today. This is Mr. Mark Larkham.
One of the things that, hand on heart, I genuinely love about Formula Ford, when I walk up behind a car now, I actually want to drive it. I actually want to sit in it and drive it. And then when that car starts, the smell of avgas just reminds me of a period earlier in my career where it was just about competition. It was just a great time to be involved, and still is.
Mark Larkham, tell us how you got involved in Formula Ford in the first place.
Well, it's a funny story. You remember back in the day there used to be the Village Grand Prix at Bankstown in Sydney. And I was living out in the bush, went into there, had a little go at that, did pretty well. I was actually going to get into rallying, and I started going through the back of Auto Action back in the day, and I saw these little things called Formula Fords, which I just wasn't aware of, being out in the bush. And I went to then Peter Finlay's driving school, and for me the pathway became obvious because I started to look at what pathways drivers had chosen, and this looked like the perfect launching point for a young aspirant's career.
And it seems like it was exactly that, because obviously, you know, you went on to have a fantastic career, not just in Formula Ford, but well beyond.
Well, thank you. But I do attribute to this day a big part of the success of any driver's career, including my own, was Formula Ford. And I say that for very specific reasons. I mean, there's things that you learn in Formula Ford that you just can't learn in other categories. And I, in fact, think many categories, even today, don't offer a lot of the attributes that a Formula Ford does. The ability to adjust your car. I mean, that's critical. And the things that you do to your car forever never change. So what happens here in a supercar are the same core principles that you learn in a Formula Ford. So you carry that stuff all the way through. And right at the bottom of all of that, I think, is the art of learning to drive a vehicle without high horsepower, with low grip, and the ability to adjust it and adjust your driving style is a great platform for learning.
Your career hasn't just been about driving. You were a successful team owner, team manager as well. How much did you learn back in the Formula Ford days that you could transfer on that side of the fence into what you did later in your career?
Well, a lot, because it is the perfect place to learn. And you know, it's even things outside of the racing. It was presentation. I mean, I came from the bush. I didn't have a dollar. I knew to survive and go ahead, I'm going to have to learn how to raise money, sponsorship money. And because of the cost of Formula Ford, you know, particularly at the junior level, the state level where you want to kick off, it's affordable. And so you can actually learn to gather momentum in skills in acquiring the funds to go racing at a quite junior level. So you can get, you know, a tyre deal over here, or a fuel deal, or a contra deal over there, or 10 grand off that person over there, save 10 grand. So you get all these little, and you pick up the skills as to how to raise money. And then you go up a level and you actually learn how to get a little bit more. But again, it's just not the racing stuff, although I do think the racing stuff is core, because it provides this, particularly from state to a national level competition. I didn't do state, I jumped straight into national, which isn't necessarily the right thing to do, but you got a really good gauge straight away as what you needed to do, how good you needed to be, how applied you need to be to succeed, by just looking up the road at the guys that were. And we've known forever in this country, if you're succeeding at the national Formula Ford level, there's a good chance you're a talent.
Yeah, fantastic interview there with Mark Larkham, and what a legend. I love seeing him on the telly doing his bits these days, especially with his inside information and the knowledge that he does hold, and it's always great to watch. Now we're going to have a quick talk to Cody Donald. He's just run off the racetrack at the moment. He's sitting down in the pit lane. Let's see if he comes out again. We might just drag him in for a quick chat now. And Cody, it's Luke live on the broadcast. How you going, buddy?
Good, yourself?
Very good, mate. I'm just going to turn you up so the viewers out there can hear you. You're just sitting in the pits at the moment. How are you finding it out there? You're in 21st place in practice. Is it feeling good out there?
I'm feeling good out there at the moment, but had a bit of technical difficulties through the week. iRacing was crashing all week, so I've only just got on it this afternoon. But so far, enjoying myself. New track, a lot of bouncy curves, but we'll slowly adapt to it and hopefully get faster as the session goes on.
Yeah, that's it, mate. And it is one of those tracks where I was saying before, you got to stay off those sausage curves, right? Because once this car rotates, it seems to be pretty hard to bring it back.
Yeah, that's for sure. And also, you don't know if you've hit the curb too hard enough. You don't know if your wing's broken either as well.
Yeah, true, and that will slow you down. Now, how are you going with everything? You raced Formula Fords last year. You're a front runner for this year, and a new team. And let us know how you're going, and looking forward, obviously, to getting back to real-life racing soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to real-life racing. I think last year at the back end we got faster. We're trying a lot of new things with the car, and then again, done a couple of test days at the start of this year, and all the changes that we made, which were key changes in terms of the main handling of the car, has developed the car even further along. And yeah, we'll just slowly adapt to it, and then once the racing comes back, everything gets up and running again, everyone's out there on the track testing, we'll see where we're situated.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Looking forward to seeing you get back to real racing. But tell us about this part of the track here through the Lesmo corners, Lesmo 1 you're going into now. It's about just slowing the car down enough but keeping momentum, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, because I feel that if you go in just that bit too fast, and on the down change or compression lock and you understeer and go straight off, which I've done a couple of times, as you probably saw on the live stream just watching it now. But this track's really cool. They've actually got a bit of camber like going with you through the corners as well, so it's quite, I guess, tricky in a way to judge where to go and where to turn in on the corner, because it kind of like it bars you to go in, but if you go in too hard, you get consequences on the way out.
That's right, and I guess getting a good exit, getting a good run, especially if you're in a pack of cars, is so important. And we're going to see, just as you head down now towards the parabolic car, getting it through here, because the length of this main straight, you've got to get a great exit out of here, don't you?
Yeah, it's very crucial, because I think if you come on, say, 1/10 slower, it'll be a lot slower way into the straight, because obviously these cars rely on a lot of momentum, just like Formula Fords do.
Very good, mate. Well, you're looking good out there. I'm going to let you go. You've got about 11 minutes left to get yourself up there to the top 10. I reckon you can do that. So we're wishing you well today, and hopefully we can speak to you later on the podium.
Perfect. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Cody. So that was just Cody Donald having a quick chat to us there, and obviously he's looking forward to getting back to some real racing, and he's currently out there in 21st place. New team this year, and a Spectrum chassis underneath him, so he'll be pretty keen once he does get out there for racing once again. And we're going to talk to a few more of the drivers as we go through this event. There's Steve Owen out on the racetrack. He's in 22nd position at the moment. We've got Ryan Bioki out there as well. He's racing again for Listic Race Cars, and from the US of A. Who else have we got out there? We've got Jake Forak. He's just jumped up into the top 10. There he is at the moment in a nice bit of a tow here. It looks like with... just seeing who's in front of him. It's Cordis in front. So looks like these guys possibly just working together. And they may have to do that during qualifying as well. It'll be one of those things where you need to help each other out. If you're finding yourself maybe a couple of tenths off the pace and someone lucks out with a good run, you might need to do this. Actually, there's a bit of bump draft going on here. That's interesting to see. Look at this. How's that for an onboard shot? I didn't think this would be possible without damaging your front wing, so we might have a look from the front of Steve's car, and you can see for SSR Racing, not too much damage there to show on the front. So interesting he got away with that, and that might be something that comes into the qualifying session as well. The issue with iRacing and that sort of stuff, any contact you make does cancel out a lap time as far as qualifying goes. So very important to keep your car clean and not make those sort of incidents. Right, just recapping, we are in practice here. We've got about 10 minutes to go before we get underway for qualifying, and I'm really looking forward to see what these guys can do out there on the racetrack this evening. Thanks for everyone tuning in. Thanks for the people sharing and following the stream as well. And we've got Brocky out there saying, where is Sarkis? Well, I'm not sure where he is at the moment. I'm just looking through the times, and currently I can't see him, so we haven't got him out there on the racetrack as of yet. These guys still going hard at it. Look at this. Once again, we're getting the old bump draft. These guys possibly practicing this for qualifying, but as I said to you, it will not work. If you do that in quali, I'm pretty sure with iRacing, the X will mean that you do not get that lap to count on the board. So Nick Percat out there in his race car. Let's ride on board with Nick for a little bit. So we've got a couple of new features here with iRacing this week with their brand new update. They did about a 10 gig update during the week, and the camera shake is one of them. I'm not sure if I'm 100% with it, or give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down what you guys think about it, but we do notice now when we cross to some of our camera angles, you do get a fair bit of shake as Nick goes flying past our comm box and heads on down the way to start another lap. He's currently up in P7, so he'll be pretty happy with that. And later on, we're going to show an interview with Nick and a chat about his Formula Ford experience. And we're going to go across to Cody Bircher and have a chat now. Just going to get him into the room, and we'll be able to talk to him about his plans for the next part of real life racing as it's about to go live again. And Cody, you're live on the broadcast. How you going, buddy?
Good, how are you?
Very good, mate. Now you're currently sitting up there in practice in third position. You feeling pretty confident today?
Yeah, I guess it's just as much as usual. I haven't really done any laps. I haven't really had much time this week because schoolwork's, I suppose, all piling up, starting to come to exams and all that as usual. But it's always good fun. So, I mean, any time you can spend on here is always good fun. Yeah,
for sure, mate. Now, getting back to real racing, you're pretty keen to jump back in the car soon. Let's hope it all gets back to normal soon.
Yeah. I guess everyone's keen to get back in the car, and I think it's probably getting close to, I guess, 10 months or 8 to 10 months since we've raced. So definitely itching to get back in the car. But I mean, when the time's right, everything will happen. So hopefully, if everyone does their part well, everyone can get racing soon, and we don't have to have, I suppose, any extended periods off again from coronavirus or anything.
Yeah, let's hope not. Hey, it's been an interesting year, that's for sure, and I know we've all missed the real life racing, and I just can't wait to see you guys back there, wheel to wheel once again down at Wakefield Park and Sydney Motorsport Park, the two places that are close to me, especially. And I might even have to make a few trips down to Victoria and see a few other great events as well. So, I'm looking forward to it, mate. Now, with today, it's going to be interesting going down to turn 1. I reckon you'll probably start up there somewhere in the top 5, and it's going to be one of those ones where you're just praying that no one comes through like a big bomb behind you and takes everyone out, and then just getting through that first couple of corners and then getting the run down towards the next chicane at turn 4 and 5. It's just going to be so important, isn't it?
Yeah, correct. Like, obviously, I think it's just the nature of Monza in the first place. You go into 2 long straights, or pretty much 3 long straights into a chicane, so cold tyres and cold everything when you're, especially off a start, everyone's probably a bit hot-headed and just going hammer and tong. So hopefully they're smart about it and just race properly, don't try and bang wheels or whatever in the first few laps. But it should be a good race. The whole slipstream is pretty much a slipstream fest, so that'll be fun, and hopefully we can have some good clean battles and have a good race, really. Yeah,
for sure, mate. Now let's hope we've got 2 races again tonight. The second one will be a reverse top 10, I think, from memory. Just correct me if I'm wrong.
Top 20. Top
20, okay. Yep, I did get it wrong. That'll be interesting once again too, to see those drivers fight through. And I guess with this racetrack, it's just about getting through the first couple of laps, let the tyres and the brakes warm up, because then you can settle into a rhythm around here. And basically that back part of the racetrack, once you get to Lesmo 1 and 2, turn 6 and 7, and through the Ascari chicane, you get a bit of a mental chance then to have a break, don't you, when you go down towards the Parabolica, and then obviously once again down the main straight. If you're not fighting wheel to wheel with someone, you can have a bit of a break there, which is important at a racetrack.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I suppose it's a simple track, but it's always going to produce some exciting racing. Whether it's going to be clean or not, hopefully it's clean. So, I guess it's probably very different to a lot of other tracks. And like you got the chicanes where there's some massive curbs and you take too much, you'll smash your front wing, or there's plenty of stuff like that. And like once you get all through those, like pretty much the corners is not like every other track. You've got a really long straight, like most sort of pretty well all tracks have, I guess, a variety, where this is just corner, long straight, and it's not too full on that way, but it's definitely good fun for sure, especially with the racing. You can generally go, if there's not a lead change in a lap, it's usually pretty surprising.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Now, looking forward to it. We'll let you go, and you've got about, 3.5 minutes left in practice. Good luck for qualifying. We'll probably speak to you later on if you can get yourself onto the podium, and we'll have a chat later.
No worries. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, Cody. So that was Cody Bircher there, setting himself up as well for getting back to real-life racing. And, fantastic. Just looking over to the stream comments, and I can only reference the ones on the Lucas Esports chat, but a big thanks to Brocky Schaefer for the 500 stars 2-week streak, man. You're a legend. Thanks, Clay, for sharing the stream as well. And a few other comments on there. And there's some good interaction as well, and a few idiots on there as well, which I'll say. And that's part of broadcasting on the internet. You got to love that. Now, a quick shout out as well. Let's give a quick shout out to Will Davison. He's watching live from home on Facebook tonight. So, Will, wishing you all the best. We want to see you back in a supercar soon. And yeah, man, we're all sort of a bit heartbroken when we saw the news a couple of weeks ago. And we did have you in that first event, and unfortunately you couldn't race, but we got to have a chat. And like I say, we all wish you well, and you're a big feature of motorsport in this country and around the world. So let's hope you get back into a drive soon, and we can all support you once again. Righto, let's wrap this up. We've got 2 minutes left to go in practice. I'm going to run down the order right now so you can see where your favourite drivers are. We've also got the ticker up the top of the screen, which will let you guys see some of your favourite drivers that are further down the list, as we do have almost 30 drivers out there on the racetrack at the moment. There's Benjamin Dialio out there. We haven't spoken about him yet tonight for Dialio Racing, currently running around there in 11th spot, so just outside the top 10. And once these drivers do get out there for qualifying, it's going to be very interesting indeed. Now, we've got a driver's briefing going on soon, so everyone's jumping out of their cars. We've only got 3 cars still out on the track, or 4 cars still on the track. They'll probably get a little bit of a mention soon if they don't get off the racetrack, because driver's briefing is well underway. And they're probably not meant to be still out there racing. We're having a look at Steve Owen at the moment out there on the racetrack, giving us some sights and sounds still, which is great. While we do that, let's go for a quick ride in the drone cam, and I'll take you for a ride down to where the old oval part of the racetrack is. Now, just give us a sec here, folks, while we set up the drone. There's sometimes this can go really, really wrong, but it is a little feature here on Lucas Esports. We'll fly straight out of our box here, and we'll take you for a bit of a ride down the circuit here. Now, down the main straightaway, you just see off to the right there, that is where the oval section starts, and it's very easy. You can set up a race in iRacing where you actually include this as part of the racetrack, and obviously you go through the chicane straight ahead, but this is the old banking section of this racetrack, as I'll fly you around here in real time. What have we got? A minute left to go in practice. And I'll just show you how far out it goes into the forest or out into the countryside, because when we get back around here, when it straightens up again, you just saw we went under the bridge there where we do actually go underneath as you head down towards the Ascari chicane. But I'll just stop the drone here and we'll have a look. This is where the racetrack used to go. Now, the straightaway, which we're just chatting about there a second, we'll fly back over this way, and you'll actually see where the circuit intersects. So there is the bridge I was just talking about, and you can see the car just going underneath now as we'll try and fly down there and keep up. And this is taking us down to the Ascari chicane, and then we fly down through this section here, and we're almost keeping up with that car. I think it might be Steve Owen actually just below us there. Down this big long straight now towards the Parabolica, and with 10 seconds to go in practice, I'm about to wrap this up. Obviously, you go down to the Parabolica, and then we head across to what is the start-finish straight once again, and we're just going to stop our drone over here and watch as Owen, I think it is, comes around down to the main straight. Now, a few of these guys probably should have done some practice starts. The checker flag drops on practice. Drone cam does its trick, and we don't crash, which is always good. We're going to get back down and get set to go now to qualifying. So really looking forward to this. Hopefully you guys are too. We'll try and bring you the times as they come up, and the sector times as well. We'll see who is the first person out onto the racetrack. So at the moment I'm seeing Steve White just appear in the pits. So these drivers, there you go. So Steve's going to be one of the first, and they will jostle for position here. Wow, someone in the background there really warming their tyres in the pit lane. Probably not something you'd do in real life, so probably frowned upon there. But straight out onto the racetrack, Alec Limmer as well. He's one of the first out there. Josh Jackson up ahead. So yeah, let's get down there and watch some of these guys as they prepare the car. And it's going to be super important. We've got half an hour of qualifying here. And it will give us a chance to talk to a few more drivers, hopefully, as well. And I'll also bring you all the sector splits. So we'll stay on board with a few drivers on their out laps, and we'll watch how they prepare. Henry Thomas Kirch, we haven't spoken about yet. We'll jump on board with him. He's in the number 10 car this evening, and just going through that first chicane. Really important, like I say, to stay off those sausage curves. Then you're flat out for the next 25 seconds or so as you wind around this big sweeping right-hander. Curva Grande, they call it. And we head down towards the next big braking zone, which is the next chicane, turn 4 and 5. Really important, you brake just after the bridge there, about the 100-metre board. Get it slowed down, just touch the curves, but don't take too much because they will fire you out into the fence there. See, into the first of the two Lesmo corners, and we go through here nicely. Power on, you've got to sort of just duck the throttle here, a little bit of brake, get it turned in nicely, and then you go flat out again, once again down this big long straightaway. So It's a good, fast racetrack, this one. Like I say, we're about 30 seconds off what a Formula One car would do or have done in their full race or full qualifying trim around this place, but it's going to make it very interesting indeed when you see these underpowered cars running wheel to wheel around here. We've got a few cars already off the racetrack there. That's a bit interesting, isn't it, on their out laps? So that's not ideal when you're trying to set yourself up for your first qualifying lap to find yourself in the wall. So those guys, as we just go to an outboard view here of Henry Thomas Kirchen, we'll just have a look down this big straightaway. You can just see as we pan the camera back a little bit there, all the way back towards the Ascari chicane. It's a fair way down there. We'll try and zoom our camera back. It will get focus eventually. We'll get some good shots as the cars come screaming through there. Now, there is a fair bit of runoff too. You can see to the right-hand side of the track or the left-hand side of our picture, the cars will use that runoff a fair bit. And we'll just try and stay here for a minute and see if anyone runs out there as I'm speaking about it, which would be nice for the broadcast, wouldn't it, if they did what I said? But yeah, sometimes you catch cars almost going right out to that fence, which is just there on the right-hand side of the track as you come flying through that chicane. And it will be interesting to see. We've got some guys now onto their quick laps, so let's ride on board once again with Clay Richards, because we haven't ridden on board with him yet today, and we'll have a look at his little car as he goes down towards the second chicane, hard on the brakes around the 100-metre board. Blipping the throttle, really important, as Cody was before said, that it's easy to rotate these cars. They will compression lock and spin around, and it's all over Red Rover. So it's really important to work on your timing of the gear shifts. You can see a fair bit of understeer through the first Lesmo there. He's really got it pushing, and possibly it is a fixed setup today. That might be a characteristic of the setup that has been put into these cars for today's event. And that is the good thing about this racing. It is all completely even. All the cars are the same. All the setups are the same. So the only thing you can change, I'm pretty sure, is brake bias. So it gives you a little bit of a chance to customize the car to how you would like it to feel. But other than that, it's all about you out there doing your job with the car the best you can. We are in qualifying now. Just a reminder, we're going to get some times up on the board very, very soon. So a big thanks once again to the Australian Formula Ford Association for putting on this fantastic event. And it's great. This is round number 3 of 5 here from Monza. And we're going to get some times up very soon. I think Henry Thomas Kirchen is just about to cross the line. There he's just going through the parabolic now. And Steve White's actually gone to the top there with a 1:52.8 second lap. Behager there in second place, 8 tenths off the pace. Richards goes across the line in third. Let's see what Thomas Kirchen can do for third place. He just jumps up there about 9 tenths off the pace. So that gives us an indication of where the lap times will be, around the 52 second mark, 1 minute 52. But I think some guys are probably going to go quicker than that. And this is where, towards the end of this half-hour session, we'll probably see some of the drivers start to team up a little bit and work on doing some laps in the tow, because it will create a lot more opportunities for you to go quicker. Now, the way they do this qualifying, they do split it into the slowest half of the field go out first, and they'll set their times. And at about the 15-minute mark, these guys will pull into the pits, and then the quickest guys from practice will go out and do their laps. So, a bit of a rotation there as he touches the curb. We'll jump over to Steve Owen. Let's ride on board with Steve. There you go. So we're going to have a quick chat with Clay Richards. Let's grab him in now. Clay, you're live on the broadcast. How you going, buddy?
Yeah, hey Luke, how are you?
Very good, mate. Now, how are you finding it out there today?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm struggling at the moment, but look, I'm having a great time.
That's the main thing, isn't it, with this with sim racing in general? It's just all about having a bit of fun, and this isn't a super serious event. It's something to fill in the time while we can't race in real life, but it's all about getting out there, having fun. You're currently in P4. We're watching you live on the screen. So just talk us through this Ascari chicane you're coming up to now.
Yeah, well, it's quite a difficult chicane. So, yeah, like I showed there, the rear end can sometimes get loose.
Yep.
But it's a really fast corner, and it's such a satisfying feeling when you can get it right.
For sure. And it's a fixed setup tonight too. So how are you finding the fixed setup? It's you guys only really get a day's notice of that setup, so you've got to adjust a little bit. It looks like there's a fair bit of push in the car. Are you finding that? Yeah,
I've definitely noticed there's a lot more push than normal in the front end. But look, that's just something you're going to have to get used to throughout the night. It's the same with everyone, so you can't really complain.
Yeah, well, that's right, and that's the beauty about this being a fixed setup race, that everyone has the same thing under their right foot. And we're just watching you wind it up now. How are you going to go talking to me and getting through a lap at the same time, all right?
Yeah, look, we'll find out. We'll find out, that's for sure.
Right, well, good luck. Talk us through it. But we go down this big, long main straight. I guess you're thinking now, you're having a bit of a mental break within the race, but you're thinking about that first braking zone around the, 150?
Yeah, about 150. Yeah, we're just past 150, going down just before the 200 board. I usually go down to first gear. Some people will go down to second, just depending on how comfortable you're feeling. So we're just going through this tight section here. Well, not tight, sorry.
Big sweeping right-hander, yep.
Yeah, big sweep. It's really important to get a good toe in this on these long straights. It helps you so much. You can gain a second a lap. So coming up to this chicane now, braking towards the 100 mark, second gear through here.
A little bit distracted there by the car spinning ahead. That's all, you got to take all that in, don't you? Now the first of the Lesmos, you tuck it in here to the right.
Yep, and wide entry as well. Just braking here down to third. And yeah, like I said before, it'd be great if I had a toe right now, but yeah, look, it's a really cool track, Monza, and it's so unique on the corners and all that.
Yeah, for sure, mate.
Hopefully I don't lose it down here. See how we go.
Good luck. The rear end squabbles a bit with you. How'd you go? Did you get an off track there? Was that counted? You're all good?
No, yeah, I did get an off track.
Oh, bugger.
I'll just let him by, but yeah, it's a lot. As you can tell, like it's for such a simple track, you're doing so much, and so coming to the last corner here, you want to really concentrate on getting a good exit through here, and yeah, that's a lap of Monza.
Awesome, mate. Now your old man was the '94 champion in the Formula Fords, and you're moving on to some national events this year. You looking forward to that?
Yeah, I am. I can't wait to get back out on track. I've been itching to get out on track. We haven't gone out on track since February, so yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, good, mate. Now we'll probably let you go here and concentrate a little bit about just getting some lap times in, because you are in a position now to grab a toe. So good luck for the rest of this lap. And yeah, hopefully we'll chat to you a bit later on, try and make it to a podium and jump in here for another talk. But yeah, once you get back to real racing, man, I'm going to try and come down to the track and see all you guys. And it is one of those things where I bet you've been missing it. Have you got the car at home in the garage? You've been keeping it polished and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, we're keeping it clean and getting it prepped for the next time we go out.
Oh, very good, mate. Well, all the best, and we'll hopefully speak to you a bit later on today.
Yeah, thanks, Luke.
Thanks, Clay. See you, mate. That was Clay Richards there, just riding on board with him and having a good chat there as well, and he's doing well. I thought I should have let him go there because he's only got about 5 minutes left in this qualifying session. And I tell you what, it does, when you're talking to someone and they're asking you questions and distracting you, it can slow you down a little bit. So we'll let him go out there and try and do his thing. He's currently in P7, chasing down these other guys wide up the top there with Thomas Kocher in P2, Limmer into P3 now with Owen there, Steve Owen in 4th place. We'll leave him be for a little bit and just hope he can just move himself a little bit up the timing boards as he just slides around there. Let's go and have a look at Steve White, currently leading this one. And we've talked to Steve a few times over the past, and he's a fantastic guy. I actually covered another event with him last night in the V8 Supercars on R Factor 2. And he just loves getting out there, doing the sim racing. We all know that he's done so much in his career. I mean, if anything had wheels on it, I think you'll find he has raced it. And, he's done everything from British Formula Ford. He obviously did Formula Ford over here, British Formula Ford, V8 Supercars, drove for the Young Lions. I mean, the list just goes on. He's done GT3 stuff. Everything you can think of. Formula Opel Lotus. He was an ambassador for the Australian Formula 1 Grand Prix in the late 90s. And he's just a guy that's got so much credential, and it's great to have him out there racing once again tonight with us in this Formula Ford eChallenge. Now, Dyson Freeman's just jumped up into the top 4, so there you go. He's starting to move along nicely in this quality session, and they only have about 4 minutes left before they'll get called in, and then the quickest half will get to go out on the racetrack. And it will be interesting to see how they go. Now, we're going to have a quick chat shortly to Nick Percat, so let's grab him in for a chat now while he's getting set to go racing. And Nick, you're live on the broadcast. It's Luke. How you going, mate?
I am good. How are you?
Very good. Now, looking forward to you racing with these guys tonight. How are you finding, first of all, this car out on Monza and the setup that they've provided you with?
Yeah, it's fun. I've had to change my whole braking style, and yeah, the V8 obviously there's about 4 times the brake pressure, so I'm just telling myself every time I go for the brake, just roll onto it, be nice and gentle. I think I was P5 in practice with no slipstream, so hopefully we have a bit better run in this than I do in the bloody Supercar E Series. So it'll be fun.
That's
it's
it.
definitely set up with less aero than what I expected, so it's more like a Formula Ford, so it's cool.
Yeah, I think that was the whole idea with the setups for this 5-round challenge, was to make them pretty loose. And I'm seeing a fair bit of push understeer in there as well as it goes through the 2 Lesmo corners. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes when you get 30 cars out there travelling in close quarters.
Definitely.
How are you going with the real life stuff? You looking forward to get back to behind the wheel and back into some real racing?
Oh, I can't wait. It's finally a calendar's come out. I've been at my go-kart quite a lot as soon as the track's reopened recently, and yeah, just hanging for it. So it'll be cool. Back to Sydney Motorsport Park, and yeah, see how we go. Really, no testing, straight in.
And it's probably been the longest off-season in your life, right?
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, I've never not driven a car for this long, so it's good that I've got the kart there. I just jump in that, get to feel G-force again, and fire up all those sensors in your butt, basically, that tells you what's going on. So yeah, it's handy I have that, but honestly, until I drive the V8 again, I think I'll probably just get a crap out of myself at Xing the pits and end up backwards or something with the power, but we'll see how we go.
That's it. And it is that whole sensation of getting some G-forces that, all these guys that are racing today, all real-life racers, and they all say the same thing, that, yes, it's fun, you get a fair bit of feedback through the steering wheel and all that sort of stuff, but you just don't get that, that excitement that you get from, I guess, the adrenaline from a real race car.
Yeah, exactly. With the sim, you do little bits and pieces on them to make you get those feelings, I guess. So you do a lot with the sound, the way the force feedback works and stuff like that. But yeah, and the race car, there's nothing like it, obviously. The sim racing, it's fun. I use it purely for just fun. I'm not one that's out there trying to become an e-racer and be a world champion. I just enjoy it and use it for what it is. But yeah, I can't wait to actually feel proper power, hear the sound and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Now, you're the 09 Formula Ford champion, is that right?
That is correct, yes.
And you're also a Bathurst winner, and we're going to have we're going to run your interview a little bit later in the program between race 1 and race 2 that you did for Formula Ford. And I did watch that earlier today and got some great stuff about it. You do talk about Sonic a lot and how they helped you out. And just let us know, like with Formula Ford, how was it stepping up from that category, obviously through go-karts, but then Formula Ford, how did that then spring you on into your career with other forms of motorsport?
Well, I was obviously very fortunate. I had Walk Control Racing support. It was one of their junior drivers, and then I was obviously with Mick and Maria Ritter at Sonic and working there full time and stuff like that. So I was extremely lucky. So when I jumped in a supercar, I felt like Mick and Maria had really prepared me perfectly in Formula Ford to jump into a supercar, and that's why I only did the 1 year of Super 2 before I was sitting in a HRT car at Bathurst. So I did 7 races in a V8 at Super 2 level, and then they said, yep, you're on for Bathurst, and the rest is history. So I owe a lot to Mick and Maria, and they do run an awesome operation, which we all know. That's why I'm still involved there and speak so highly of them.
Yeah, that's incredible, man, and it's incredible to think that you can jump straight from Formula Ford, and I guess a lot of these guys that you're racing against today have those same dreams of getting that sort of road through to supercars and beyond as well. So it's just great to talk to you and hear that, because it will inspire these guys to work really hard once they do get back to real racing for the rest of the year.
Yeah, exactly. That's why
we've just lost you there for a sec, Nick, but I tell you what.
Yeah.
Oh, you got you now. Yep, you're back.
Yeah, I was just saying how I work with Ange Mazuris and helped him get in there with 888, and now he's doing the same thing. Just go straight from Formula Ford to supercars. Yeah,
for sure. It's fantastic. Now I think it's your turn to get out there and qualify. Looking at the time, we're just gone 16 minutes. So good luck. We might have a chat to you a little bit later on if you're happy to do so. And
sounds good,
mate. Good luck in quali here. We'll keep an eye on you and see how you go, and we'll probably chat to you.
Big toe, that's what I need.
Well, you better get on the phone to some of these boys and see what you can organise.
We'll see how we go.
Right, Nick. Good luck, mate.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was Nick Percat just having a quick chat there. He's about to go out and do his part of qualifying. So these guys now getting set to do the switcheroo. The slowest half of the field from practice will now go back to the pit lane and the quicker guys will come out for their chance to have a run. So good to have a chat there with Nick Percat, Supercars legend out there, and joining us today, obviously someone who won the 09 championship with Formula Ford, coming back to have a run with these guys in the eChallenge, which is fantastic. So Steve Owen just out there still running around. So we'll just run through. We've got 12 positions or 12 lap times set in this early part of qualifying. And now we're going to switch over to this second half of the grid. So just running through those positions at the moment. Steve White, he's managed to get to the top there. So White, Freeman, Jackson, that's your top three. Thomas Kircher, then Behager there in 5th place. Limmer, Owen, Bjerke, Donald, Richards, Goodman and Nelson. That's your 12 drivers that have made it out onto the racetrack so far. And we're just currently watching Steve Owen. We're going to see a few of these other drivers now. Jake Donaldson just getting out there. Look at this. They're all in a bit of a pack here. And I reckon they understand that they can see the times they've got to beat now, and they're probably thinking, right, we got to get ourselves out into a slipstream, work together if we're going to beat those times. And we will see them topple, because we did see the earlier times in practice more likely around the 1 minute 50 mark. So although the track conditions do change with temperature and all that sort of stuff, so it could be a slower the track than practice. That might be another interesting thing that has crept in. Righto, we're just looking at these drivers. Like I said before, let's Jakey Foraker. I'm pretty sure I've got him hooked up for our Twitch cam again tonight. There you go. So he's live there via Twitch once again. He's got himself tucked in. Sorry, no, it's Jake Donaldson I've got on the Twitch. So there's Jake Foraker on your screen right now. But we're actually watching Jake Donaldson, who's there. Actually, he's just disappeared back to the pit lane. So we saw him have a crash there on Twitch, and he's back in the pit lane. So what we'll do, we'll come back to him in a little bit later. We'll go over to Jake Foraker for now. Now, these guys look like they're working together here. It's right on board with him. You can just see he's tucked in for a slipstream here. And it will be interesting to see what they can do and if it works out, because so many times at Monza we do see this sort of stuff end up costing you time rather than making you time when they do sort of trip over each other. And you got to time it right. Really, the car in front needs to jump out of the way and spoil their own lap if it's going to be any good for the car following. So it'll be interesting to just ride with this and watch a few of the drivers that are attempting this method of slipstreaming and getting a tow. Nick Percat out on the racetrack now. You can just see him, and he was chatting before about how the car is set up. He's had to adjust his braking style especially, and he's just going to have to work, get the mind around that, jumping in a different car. He's been doing a lot of stuff in the E-Series, in the V8 Supercar, obviously today into the Formula Renault 2000. It's a completely different kettle of fish, and let's see if he can get up there in the top 10 like he did in practice. He was pretty quick. I think he ended up about 5th in practice, so if he can do that in this second part of quali here, we'll be pretty happy. And then it's all, like I said earlier, just about keeping your nose clean for that big run down into turn 1 and 2. That big pinch at the chicane on lap 1 is going to be incredible. So he's just tucked in behind Quinn at the moment, and we can see it's Ryder Quinn just up ahead, racing with us for the first time tonight. Round number 3 here of the Australian Formula Ford eChallenge. And up into this Ascari chicane. Watch him tip it in here on the brakes, and you release the brake. Just try and keep a flow through here. You can see Nick's got a really nice throw through there. You pick up a little bit of understeer on the exit, but I'll tell you what, he made up a heap of time there on Quinn. He jumps back into the tow. We'll go side to side with him here, and should be able to get past him. There you go. So we're just going past Quinn, and they'll switch places now as we go around the Parabolica and start the lap once again. So that'll give Quinn a nice tow. Actually, someone else drops behind. That was Owen, just jumping in behind Percat as well. So looking back from Nick Percat's car, you'll see here Owen will get a really good run down the straight. Now, this could be costly, because if he ends up jumping in front of Percat, that'll cost Nick dearly when it comes to actually setting his lap time. So there you go. They're going to go wheel to wheel. This is really going to be not effective for either of these drivers, really. And that's the problem with doing the cheeky little tow like that. Owen dropped back, and then he's jumped into a tow. Percat's ended up coming out on top, and I think Owen's actually dropped right out of that one. But like I say, it can spoil both drivers' times when you do try and get that tow late in the game like this. Now, we've got about 8 minutes to go, 8.5 minutes to go in qualifying. It's still Cody Birch actually has gone to the top now with his lap time. Nick Percat's gone up into 2nd. You've got Jakey Foraker up there in 3rd place. So we're seeing these quicker drivers now from practice start to put their lap times in. The purple sectors there for Cody in Sector 2, 3 and 5. Sector 4 went to Nick Percat. So, and Cooper Allen has just set a purple sector in Sector 1, so he's going quickly as well. And it'll be interesting to see how they go. Let's get the ticker up the top for you so you can just see your favourite drivers, where they're at. Because obviously our side tower only shows the top 20 as we're running through here. But we'll see how we go. Now, we've got Steve White in the green room. I'm going to grab him in for a chat. G'day, Steve. You're live on the broadcast. How you going, buddy?
Yeah, good. Look at yourself.
Good, mate. 2 nights in a row I've gotten to speak to you about motor racing, and it's fantastic to have you here once again tonight with the Australian Formula Ford eChallenge. How are you finding it out there, first of all?
Can I ask, have you got any advice on how to use iRacing to its maximum and to get really fast lap time?
Close your eyes and hope for the best. Now, it is a thing where you're having to adapt, I guess, from R Factor 2, which, let's be honest, I think the physics in R Factor 2 are probably a little bit more switched on as far as the tyres and that sort of stuff. They've got a very good tyre model in R Factor 2, I think, anyway. I'm not sure if you agree, but I think it is. And switching across to iRacing, you're probably finding it a bit difficult, yeah? A bit skatey out there?
Yeah, it's just really difficult to get a feel for what the car's doing, and you're either too slow or you spear off the track. So to try and find that medium in the middle, it's really tough. And if they mixed iRacing and R Factor 2 together, man, would we have an awesome game.
Oh, for sure. And I've been saying that for a while too, because there's just aspects, iRacing have got a lot of aspects right, but then when it comes to just the feel of the car, and especially to me, and I'm no pro driver, I've driven a bit of club racing stuff with an Austin Healey and that sort of stuff, but it's the over rotation. Once it goes, there's no way you can get it back a lot of the time in iRacing.
Yeah, totally agree, and that's sort of the frustrating part, because you're trying to build up to the limit, and as you get close to it, it just lets go, but yet you're still like a second and a half off the pace, and it's like, how am I going to find this time?
That's it. Now, you are against some guys, though, that not only do they race Formula Fords in real life, but they do a lot of iRacing, and I'm talking probably 40, 50 hours a week, some of these kids.
Yeah, a lot of them put in a lot of time, and I think it's obviously great practice at the moment since we're not able to get on track for real, and it's great brain training and hand-eye coordination, and like you said, to be able to commit to one server, especially to 40, 50 hours a week, makes a big difference.
For sure. Now, I've spoken to you a few times about your career and how Formula Ford was a part of that, and all the wonderful things you did racing all around the world, different categories and V8 supercars and the works, mate. I mean, the list is so long, it would take me all day to read the things that you've done. But once again, just reiterate how Formula Ford played a part in that role for you.
Formula Ford really is the stepping stone to seeing how you can set a car up, see how you can drive a car on the limit with it slip and sliding around, and if you're able to win races and get to a point where you can be on the podium in a championship, race teams from all around the world, it's not just the V8 supercar teams in Australia, it's race car teams around the world, will sit up and take notice. And I had an opportunity to go over to Europe and continue my relationship with the Swift Battery Formula Ford team, and that's where I started the 1994 British Formula Ford Championship, and then in 95 I went for Swift as well in Formula Renault and drove in the European Formula Renault Championship.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you've actually driven around here, around Monza in a Formula Renault, is that right?
It's a pretty amazing place. It's one of the very, very few places that when you drive in, it's the hair stands up on your back, and the history, and just to be able to walk around the place, it's just an incredible feeling.
Yeah, and I guess you're probably then the most qualified to tell the difference between the real-life Formula Renault and what you're driving today in the sim, and it's good to hear your thoughts on that. And let's hope, I guess the biggest thing with this downturn of real racing and sim racing coming to a forefront in this time of COVID-19 is the improvements, hopefully, that they will make with the sims to make them as realistic as they can get.
Yeah, and as we all know, you can't take away feeling in a race car, and so obviously when you're out there on the track for real, you get to feel the G-forces on the braking and cornering and acceleration. You get to feel the tyres squirm around, and so the good drivers know all the time how much grip they've got, whereas on the computer, you don't know the grip. You drive as fast as what you feel for experience. But where the simulator's really good, that you don't get a chance to do in a race car, because it's not like swimming, tennis, golf, where you can practice every day. at least on the simulator, it's great brain training because the processes and the information that you need to be a great race car driver, you can actually get from the sim. And that's why the sim's really good for training.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Now, I'm just having a quick look at the times here. You've dropped back to 14th, but that's pretty decent. You're going to have a pretty good plan, I reckon, for race number 1, because it's going to be such a pinch point down into turn 1 and 2, that chicane. So what's your plan for today's event, firstly for race 1, just to get through there unscathed?
I think your commentary leading down to the first corner is going to be the best to listen to after this event. I mean, obviously, is to get through turn 1 and turn 2 without knocking off a wing or being involved in a crash, and I'm not quite sure how we're going to do that yet. We'll just have to play it by ear. At least we don't have 50 guys on here like what we've had here in the past. I think there's only 30, 35 guys, so at least turn 1, turn 2 shouldn't be as interesting as what it could have been.
Yeah, I think the long weekend has a few people actually going away and being away from their PCs this weekend, so we're seeing a smaller field. I think we've got about 27 cars, so that should make it a little bit easier, but still it's going to be a great run into the first corner. Let's hope no one cannonballs through and does an old 10-pin bowling sort of manoeuvre. That will really spoil things, but yeah, man, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. We've got about 2 minutes to go. And yeah, I guess hopefully we can have a chat if you make it up to a podium, or we can have a chat after the race anyway, because it's great to have you involved and it's good to have your expertise. And you're also the DSO, is that correct?
Yes, I did a couple of rounds last year to help out the Formula Ford Association and really enjoyed it. It was good to see some of the old familiar faces that have been in the category for a long time. And then I was asked to do the role full-time this year, so as much, obviously we haven't had a chance to go out on the track yet, but looking forward to that chance of getting out there for real shortly and coaching the kids and assisting the kids and also some discipline at the same time.
Yeah, so just explain to the newbies watching what a DSO actually does at a racetrack.
Basically, my role is just to oversee what's going on out there, and because as you know, as a driver, it's very easy to get excited. It's very easy to get the red mist, so to speak, and sometimes you can also commit to a pass where you're not quite sure whether you should have done that or not. So it's a little bit of coaching in terms of racecraft, understanding that the race obviously isn't won on the first corner, it's won on the last lap after the last corner, and just having them understand the rules that they're going to go through as they go up into different categories and different formulas maybe, or even to reach the marks of V8 supercars. We have a similar rule book to V8 supercars, so the quicker that they can learn that system and how it all works, that way they can definitely make the most of it.
Yeah, fantastic, mate, and it is fantastic to, like I say, have you out there and have your expertise, and I'm sure it's something that the young kids coming through, having you sort of at that role model level, and also pulling them back into line when they do make a mistake, and actually telling them, hey, yeah, you made a mistake, but this is how you build from that and you come back stronger, is an important thing to have a role model like you in the sport still.
Thanks, Lukey. It's great to actually be asked to do it. I have some really fond memories of being in Formula Ford. It's the start of a motor racing career for every driver that's out there. So it's great to be able to give back a little bit and also see the next up-and-coming champions of motorsport in Australia.
For sure, mate. Now we'll let you go because we're getting ready to go to race 1 now, so good luck.
Thanks, buddy.
Cheers. So that was Steve White, just having a quick chat there. Now we're getting set to go for the grid in race number 1, and we do have 2 races tonight, so stick around for this, and the second race will be a reverse top 20. So let's get the grid up for you on the screen right now, folks, and we're waiting for the drivers to start forming up down on the grid, and we're going to see that very soon. So off the front row, it'll be Cody Bircher and Cooper Allen. Bates and McHugh off the second row. Nick Percat, nice job up into 5th place there with Dialia off the 3rd row. Liston and Grubel off the 4th row. Foraker nicely up onto the 5th row there with Freeman side by side there. Then you got Girton and Cortis off the 6th row. Over the page, we're going to have Evans and Quinn. White and Freeman back there in 16th place. Jackson, Thomas Kircher, Behaga and Limmer, Owen and Bjerke back there in 22nd place. Donald, Richards, and then we have Goodman, Nilsson, Donaldson, and Race Control just hanging out there making sure everything is going all right. So Donaldson, they're not getting a lap in the end, which is interesting. We did see him trying to get a tow right at the late stages of that qualifying. And a big thanks once again to Yokohama. They'll be bringing us our replays for this event. And let's get set to go racing here at Monza. And the call down into turn 1 is going to be very interesting indeed. We're just waiting on Bircher and Allen to grid up. We're about 1:20 into staging here at the moment. And as soon as those guys grid up onto the racetrack for us, we'll get underway here at Monza for this first heat race. And you can just see the drivers there all looking set to go racing. Just we've got Bircher just loading in now, I think. So as soon as, like I say, once they've loaded in, we'll get underway. You'll see the lights come on and we'll get racing. So big thanks again to all the people we've had a chance to speak to at the first part of this broadcast today. And we've got some great things coming up, including a nice pre-recorded interview with Nick Percat. Bircher now takes to the line. Here we go. So 27 drivers out there on the racetrack. Good luck, fingers crossed, everything crossed down into turn one, because it's going to be absolute chaos, I reckon, as they get down to the braking zone. Cooper Allen has missed the start by the looks of things. We're about to go green here. The light does go green, so Allen misses the start. Everyone gets away nicely at the front. We got a bit of smoke at the back. I think it's just wheel spin at the back, but here we go, down the big main straight for the first time, down towards what will be turn one and turn two. A bit of carnage, I reckon, on its way to unfold. Look at this, 27 cars, 26 if you count out Cooper Allen, who's back in the pit lane, getting through nicely at the front so far. Everyone actually getting through well at the front. We got a car around in the background. This is going to cause some carnage. We got the track blocked. As expected, there was always going to be a little bit of carnage down there, and we'll try and see who's involved. There's a nose cone missing there off one of the cars. Oh boy, that was a bit of a clumsy spin around there, which has caused a fair bit of damage to one of the other cars back at the front. Cody Bircher's got away nicely indeed from Zach Bates. Nick Percat running nicely wheel to wheel here. Oh boy, that was close. There's a car around in the background, one of the green cars. I think that was Cortis going around in the background. And no, sorry, it was Diali has gone around. So unfortunately, as we look from Nick Percat as he goes off the racetrack, rejoins, regathers. Somehow he managed to hang on to that. He lost a couple of positions, but that's all right, because at least he kept it facing in the right direction. And boy, oh boy, what a first lap we're having here. And he's going to be under attack very soon from William Liston as they come flying past our track cam. And look at this, folks. This is some great racing up the front. Looking back, there is Cody Bircher. We'll look back down the racetrack. You can see these drivers all coming through line astern. Then it's a fair way back. The gap down to Bahega Richards as well. Quinn, they've all dropped back a fair way. So you just saw at the front there. Look at this. There's already a bump draft going on between Bircher and Bates. I'm not sure this is the best idea as Bates disappears and drops out of the tow, drops back a little bit. He hasn't got the best internet connection there by the looks of things. But I'm not sure if the bump draft is the way to go in one of these Formula cars. It could easily do some damage. So anyway, we're back underway and racing nicely. And Cody, at the moment, he's out in front, but I reckon Zach Bates will have a shot here. He does now go to the inside towards turn one, and he should have a good run here under brakes, be able to take that position away from Cody Bircher here on lap two. Lap 2 of 12 for this first race of round number 3. Hard on the brakes now through the chicane. Zach Bates gets the job done. Nice pass indeed. Nick Percat's also managed to get past Grubel there for 4th place. So they're switching and changing positions as they go through the field here. And that's a nice run as we go down this big sweeping Curva Grande for the second time. You can just see there Nick Percat. That's the second battle. We've got Bircher at the front going wheel to wheel. He's actually got back in front by the looks of things of Zach Bates. So he gets a little bit sideways as he gets it slowed down into the second chicane. Zach Bates, he's going to go back after him here, and we're riding on board now with McHugh. Brady's back there in 3rd position, all by himself at the moment. He's got a gap of about 1.6 seconds ahead to Bircher. Bates has managed to get back through once again. So these guys have switched positions about 4 or 5 times in the opening 2 laps. This is a great exchange between these guys. Riding on board once again with Cody. He's going to have a shot down here. I reckon he's going to go to the inside. He does. Unfortunately, I do apologise. There's nothing we can help that internet connection for Zach Bates. He's going to be doing that Houdini a fair bit, I reckon, this afternoon. It's just to do with their ping. It can be a little bit off-putting for the drivers that are racing around them as well. And we've got this great battle here between Kyle Girton, Jake Fouracres in this as well. Riding on board now with Jake. You can see out the back there is Kyle chasing him down for the 7th position. And we've got a pass on here, I think, between Liston and Fouracre. So Fouracre just getting in front there of Liston as we ride on board down through the Parabolica once again, heading into lap 3. Nice job, Jake Fouracre up a spot. and he'll be pretty happy with that going through the field. And Liston's also falling back another position here, because right beside him is Girton, who's jumped into the slipstream. He's going to try and move across here, because at the moment you'll see Liston come back here with the slipstream of 4 Acre in front. You should see him start to make a little bit of gains here as they go past our pit camera, which is on the ground there. We left one of our cameramen laying down on the ground and getting us some great shots tonight from down there at the cement. So Liston hanging on there to P8 at the moment. He's down 1 position from where he started. The biggest mover off the start was Bjerke. There he is on the screen. So Ryan, he's up 10 spots at the moment. Let's get the gains for you up on the screen so you can just see where your favourite drivers are and how far they've moved up. You can see Richards as well. That's Clay Richards we spoke to earlier in the broadcast, already up 10 positions. So these guys driving nicely and getting through. Let's see if we can go back and have a quick look at the incident at the start of the race. Now, we had a huge crash, and I'm just trying to see who the biggest offender. Unfortunately, I think Clay Richards may have been involved with that, but he's managed to fight back pretty well. So I'm just going to look down the back. Unfortunately, I think Whitey might have been involved too. So let's go to the replay now as, off the racetrack goes one of our cars. We're going to go have a look at this replay now, thanks to Yokohama. This is right at the start of the race, folks. Look at this, down into turn 1. Steve White was all in the middle of this pack, just trying to keep his nose clean. Let's see if we can work out what happened here. He goes through the corner. He just got a bit of a touch onto the back of one of the cars there, and from then on, there was a fair bit of carnage down there as cars tried to turn around and regain position. We'll also have a look from Clay Richards' perspective down there into turn 1, see if we can work out what happened there on the replay. So look at that, 27 cars heading down towards the first corner. We'll zoom in there and just see, oh boy, there was a crash in the back play there. I'm not sure how that happened. Clay Richards sort of just minding his own business there, also ran into the back of one of the cars. So that concertina effect, really easy to make a mistake and find yourself missing a nose cone. You can see he's taken a little bit of damage there because that steering, even though he's turning right, I think that steering is knocked a little bit out of shape. Let's get back to live and see where we're at with our drivers. Let's go right back to the top. It is Bircher leading from Bates. McHugh still there in 3rd spot. Nick Percat not far behind now in 4th. Then you've got Grubel in there too. Now we do have Limmer in there. He's a lap car, I think, just in between these guys, if you're wondering why there's an extra car lurking around. We can't see much from our chopper cam. One of the issues with this place, there's a lot of trees. We'll try and zoom in and just get a shot of Nick as he appears out of the trees here, down towards the second chicane. No, we'll give up on that. There's nothing happening from the chopper today. And there you go. So Nick Percat doing a nice job up there in 4th position. And the battle at the front still raging between these two. You can see Cody Bircher, Zach Bates all over the back of him at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see if they just sort of play a bit of a waiting game now. If Bates sort of holds back a little bit, just runs in the slipstream and doesn't try too much just yet. We've got to pass on here. This was 4 Acre now, starting to really put some pressure on Kyle Girton. So let's get the ticker up the top so you guys can see where your favourite drivers are, right to the bottom of the field. And we do still have 26 cars running out there. So you can just see there Kyle moving away, just swerving a little bit down the straightaway, trying to break that toe for Jake 4 Acre. And Jake, let's see how he goes through the Ascari chicane. If he can move up closer, he gets a fair bit of understeer through there. You can see how wide he goes off the racetrack in the end. So we could see that on the camera. He picked up a lot of understeer as he pushed through that chicane. And let's see how we go. Down to the Parabolica once again. Can he get close enough to make a move? Riding on board once again with 4 Acre. Tips it in nicely. And he should be able to line this up, I reckon, by the end of the straightaway. The setup seems to have enough top end in it for you to run beyond and get a good slipstream and overtake a car. Sometimes they set these cars up to not have enough gearing, so you actually will hit the limiter. But look at this, folks. You should be able to get tucked right up under here and then go for a pass. He'll go across to... Oh, no, he's giving a bump. So we're seeing a lot of this tonight. I'm not sure if these drivers have spoken about bump drafting, but it's... they're helping each other out, but it's such a risk of taking damage in a Formula car. I'm not sure exactly why they'd be doing that tonight, but anyway, we're seeing it a fair bit. Kyle Evans now going wheel to wheel with Lewis down there, and Lewis gets in front, so Behager there doing a nice job down into the first chicane once again on lap 5. These races really doing well. Oh, and he goes around there, so unfortunately Lewis has spun the car, and he'll have to try and regather that now. Let's hope no one else gets involved as they come through. Clay Richards will be the next to come through down there as well. Jake Donaldson down in 15th, just trying to make back some positions after that earlier incident. You can just see his car glistening as he comes down the main straight there, looking very nice. iRacing has made some improvements on their visuals in the latest update, and gets on the throttle hard. We'll go to his Twitch cam. You can just see him working hard there. He's also talking to Brady McHugh there, or Brady's speaking. Nick Percat also on the mic. You can just see them popping up there on Jakey's screen. That's always interesting to see and wonder what they're talking about. Obviously, I have to mute that chat for obvious reasons, because sometimes there's some colourful language. But anyway, up the front, it's still Cody Bircher. The gap at the moment, let's get that up on the screen for you so you can see where they're at. It's about 0.6 of a second, 0.7 of a second now between Bircher and Bates. Then we look back to Percat. He's up into third position. He's got ahead of McHugh. You can see that now. Looking back, I reckon Brady will have a good shot at him down the end of this straightaway once again as we're on lap 5 going into lap 6. We'll see if we can get a shot from the chopper here down the main straight. We can. So we're looking down at this battle between Percat and McHugh. And big thanks to the Moto Shop for this chopper view, and you'll see the slipstream come into effect. And once again, the bump is on. So they're obviously talking about this on their radios and helping each other catch up to the cars in front. But like I say, I just don't understand. I'm a bit baffled. I'm surprised we haven't seen a front wing end plate or a nose cone come flying off one of these cars just yet when they do go for that. But these guys know what they're doing. They've obviously put this into practice during the week. And it's probably the only way they're going to catch up. It's a 3.8 second gap between Bates and Percat for second and third position. So they're going to have to try and do something to bridge that gap now. And Cody Bircher there, he is still leading the race. We'll get a couple of splits up there for you so you can see the lap times now on the screen. And between Bircher and Bates. And you can just see on the previous lap, Bircher was quicker. The one before that, lap 4, Bates was actually quicker. So they're still switching positions around a fair bit. No pit stops in this race. They are sprint races, which is fantastic. The time delta up on the screen there too. You can just see Bircher really eking out a bit of a gap now on this lap, lap 6. He's got that gap out to 7/10. Actually, it's the second now, so he's still pulling out more of a gap as well. As we look back there in the distance to also see Nick Percat coming flying through there. McHugh on him, Grubel and Foraker behind him with Liston, Cortis, Evans. Behager's got himself running again up into 11th. Clay Richards back there as well. So all these drivers doing a nice job. Here we go once again. Nick Percat under fire. Look how close they are at the back here. The 14 car of Brady McHugh giving him the old push down the straight here. I'm not sure that's really helping though. That gap to the front guys is still falling away. So you can just see these guys trying to work together, trying to get something happening. But at the moment, it's not pushing them up any closer to the leaders. And, they can still see them though. If we ride on board here with McHugh, you'll see as he tucks underneath Percat's car there, once again giving him a push down the straight. And the gap, you'll just see the leaders now going through the chicane. He backs out of the throttle to give a little bit of space for the braking zone. And then they slow it down here and get it turned in. Be really careful over those sausage curbs because the car will rotate really easily. And on their merry way they go once again. So nice racing. We'll go down through the pack and have a look at some of the other drivers that are racing down a little bit further. Let's go down to Clay Richards. He's down there in 12th place with Ryder Quinn just behind him, just going down the main straightaway now. So he's a fair way back off the lead at the moment. In fact, he's 44 seconds off the lead and involved in a few incidents at the start. There's Jake Foraker. Jake Donaldson. I get those guys mixed up a bit for Synergy Motorsport. He's chasing down Ryder, so he's also about 54 seconds off the lead of the race at the moment with that earlier incident. So let's hope he can keep moving forward. And obviously the reverse top 20 for race number 2, if you finish anywhere around 20th, you're going to have a fantastic go at getting a good run in the second race. So that's a pretty important thing to keep in the back of your mind if you are running down in the bottom part of this field. Back at the front there is Cody Bircher. Zach Bates not too far behind. We're missing a few names tonight that I'm not sure why they're not racing, but it being a long weekend, I think they're probably family commitments, all that sort of stuff. People are finally getting a chance to go away. And we do have 27 cars out there, which is fantastic. And all these guys, real life race drivers, and doing this while we can't go racing in real life. But I tell you what, I've heard that the cars are starting to get back on tracks. And there was a few guys testing different cars down at Wakefield during the week and all that sort of stuff. So it's great to hear that we're getting closer to real life racing once again. This battle's on. Also the battle with Girton here. You can see side by side with Foraker. Let's ride on board with Kyle. You just look over there, you can see Foraker. They're going to go wheel to wheel down the main straight here on lap 8. Who's going to give? I reckon at the moment, Jake is going to have to give up this position when they do get down to the chicane. Let's have a look. Get under the brakes very soon. We just see the marker boards go past 150 just before the 100 metre boy. Jake Foraker really late on the brakes there. He's managed to slow that down. That's a fantastic braking effort there by Jake. I thought when I looked at those marker boards, he braked around the 100-metre board there and still got the car pulled up. So that's a fantastic bit of driving by young Jake Foraker there for JFM. And I tell you what, he's racing well tonight, up in 6th place at the moment. Will be under attack again from Girton very soon. But so far so good in this race. They've been pretty clean up the front. Once we got through that earlier impact at the start, which was always going to happen down into turn 1, it's we are running nicely, and it's good to see everyone having a good race and making a good race of it up the front. Steve Cordes, we haven't spoken about Steve too much. He's running down there in 9th place at the moment. You can just see the gap back to Kyle Evans. He's a fair way between those guys, and he's chasing down Liston. This is for track position at the moment. You can see from his camera that is William Liston just up ahead. Will's doing a nice job there in P8, so these guys are running well in the top 10 at the moment, and that will still put them into about that position when they do the reverse grid. So if you're only around 9th or 10th, obviously with the reverse top 20, that's where we're going to start as well. Big thanks to everyone sharing and liking the stream. I haven't had much of a chance to check out the comments, but a big thanks. And Cooper Allen just sent a message through saying that his internet failed, so that explains why Cooper did not start the race. Unfortunately, an internet failure, like in the real world with different sort of mechanical failures, these guys in the sim world can have unfortunately an internet gremlins come in, and it's forced him out of this race tonight. So really unfortunate, Cooper. Hope you're still watching along, and we miss you being out there, because it would have been a great race at the front, I reckon, between yourself and Cody. And Cody's still out there about 2 seconds clear of Zach Bates at the moment, with Nick Percat in 3rd place. There is Nick, and right behind him Brady McHugh still chasing him down, and Trent Gribble there back into 5th. We got Girton in 6th, Foraker's up into 7th, Liston in 8th place, Cordes and Kyle Evans rounding out your top 10 at the moment, and running very nicely indeed. Lap car of Thomas Kircher just getting out of the way there nicely down into the braking zone as Percat ducks through, still in 3rd position. He's made up 2 spots off the start of this race. He's had Brady tucked in behind him for most of the race too, so a fair bit of pressure being exerted here from Brady McHugh, but at the moment Nick Percat, he's got an old head on his shoulders. He knows all about this, and he'll be pretty accustomed to eyes forward and making sure he hits all his apexes and braking zones 100% correctly. So, 27 drivers out there still running on the track, which is fantastic. And at the moment, Cody Bircher, I don't think anyone's going to be able to catch him in this race. Let's have a look. There he is, going past our camera right now. We'll freeze the camera there. You'll see the gap back to Zach Bates. There it is on your screen. Then wait for Nick Percat. It's about another 6 seconds back. Here he comes now. We'll just wait there. There they go. So Percat and McHugh going through. Then you got Grubel and Girton going through as well, with Foraker right on the back of them. So these guys are racing well. On the brakes here, you're seeing Foraker go for a move. At the moment, doesn't do it. Gets right up under the back once again of Kyle Girton, and we'll go down on the nose cam for a run down the straight here. You can see the shot of these little Formula Renaults, and he's going to weave either way. And once again, oh boy, look at that. We're getting the old push. And Foraker pushing Girton down the straight here. So there you go, fantastic. And just I got a little bit of news then on the feed that Formula Ford has a test day at Winton on the 20th of June. So how cool is that? Not too far away. In fact, if I wasn't doing broadcasting, I'd probably jump in the car. It's not a huge drive down to Winton from Bowral. Obviously, it'd be an effort, but I tell you what, I've got so much on at the moment. Otherwise, I'd be down there to check out that test day, because I reckon there's going to be a lot of big smiling faces when they do get to open the throttle again down there in the real world. Nick Percat still in 3rd place here. Let's go back to Trent Grubel in 5th place, hanging on nicely, up 3 spots from where he started. We'll have a look at the best lap times too, just so you can see that on your screen right now. And it is Bates in P2 with the best lap time. As once again, Foraker's getting hounded here by Kyle. Oh boy, they got really close there through the first or second, is it, of the Lesmos, and down this big straightaway once again. Foraker's going to have his hands full, I reckon, down at the Ascari chicane as Girton comes right up under brakes once again. So they've been racing well, these two. They've been keeping it clean so far. He just backs out of the brakes there. He'll try and get a nice smooth run through this chicane section and then get a huge run down towards the Parabolica. Oh boy, look at that huge crash there. That's a massive one for Foraker. He's off the track and he's into the fence, and it looks like he's stuck in the fence too, which can happen in iRacing, where you can't actually get out of the fence, and that will require him to reset to the pits. He's trying to get the car going. He's got it free of the fence now, so somehow he's managed to do that, but he's going to lose heaps of spaces. He's all the way back down to 9th, and he'll get it running again. He's got a fair margin then back to Kyle Evans, so he should be able to get that into the pits and almost come out round probably 12th or 13th position. But oh, huge impact there, unfortunately, for young Jake Foraker. Let's have a quick look at the replay. He just got a big tank slapper on, didn't he, as he came through the Ascari chicane. So let's have a quick look on the replay now, thanks to Yokohama. So just going through the chicane here, you see there's no impact in all between those two drivers. He got a bit of opposite lock. Look at that, sideways, goes back the other way, and from then on, he's just a passenger. And really hard across there into the fence, takes the nose off the car, and unfortunately, he was running so well, he drops back a fair way with that incident. Let's go back to live, folks, because up the front, Cody Bircher, as we bring you back to live pictures now, thanks to Yokohama. Cody Bircher's still got this wrapped up at the moment as a 2.3 second gap between himself and Bates, and then you got Percat still hanging on for 3rd position, but battling hard with Brady McHugh, who might try something on the last lap, I reckon, here. We'll get the white flag next time around, but these guys have been battling this whole race. Ryder Quinn now in the thick of things as well. He's got Clay Richards just up ahead, so there is Clay. The nice little battle here. Goodman's out of position, so the car at the front of this one is out of position. He's a lapped car, that is Goodman. But then you've got Richards, Behager and Quinn all racing really well back for position 10 here. So this isn't over yet for these guys right down the field. And it's nice to see they're racing hard right to the flag in this one. Bircher at the front. He's got that gap out to 8 seconds by the look of it. Is that correct? No, 2.3 seconds. So my timing screen there just playing a bit of a funny trick on me, as he's going to get the white flag this time through. There is the gap as we look back. The flag does come out, the white flag. 1 lap to go. He goes past our race control booth right now. You can see position 2 going through as well. And they come flying down. There is Bircher going across past our camera. Then Bates just tucked in behind. Then we've got a lapped car of Donald, I think it is. Then here is Nick Percat coming up right now. So that's the gap back between those guys. It is a fair way. And McHugh, he's lining him up. I reckon he'll have to have a shot on the last lap here, because it'll come down to the wire between these drivers. And make sure you stick around in the break tonight. We've got a great interview with Nick Percat coming up, and we'll just talk about his Formula Ford career, and it's definitely worth watching during the 10-minute warm-up we do have between race 1 and race 2 this evening. There's Cody Bircher on your screen. Let's get the track map up for a little bit. You can see all the drivers out there. Just going through Lesmo 1 is Bircher. Zach Bates not far behind. Nick Percat there in 3rd, just going out of the chicane now. And he's got Brady McHugh chasing him down. This battle back here with Donaldson. Look at this. These guys going wheel to wheel once again. Down the straightaway here, this is Donaldson racing with Ryder Quinn, who's going to brake late. We saw how quick Donaldson was under brakes before. He's really good at braking late, and I think he's got it done here. No, Quinn's going to stick it down the inside. They're going to make a bit of contact there, those two drivers, and it looks like Donaldson's going to lose out and spin the car around. So unfortunately, he's come off worse for wear there. Freeman's going to actually get past probably 2. Let's go back to the front, because we haven't got far to go with this one. Bircher is out in the lead of this race. He's only got the parabolica to go, and then he'll come around and take that checker flag. In the background, you can see how close it is now between Percat and McHugh for 3rd position. Is he going to have a look down there into the final corner? He is having a bit of a dive. Let's see if he gets the job done. No, he doesn't. He does, so checker flag's going to drop here for Bircher as he crosses the line, but we do want to check back towards this battle for P3 and 4. Zach Bates crosses the line now to take 2nd spot. Here is the battle for 3rd and 4th at the moment. They're going to go right to the line here. I'm not sure who's going to take this. They're side by side. It looks like Brady McHugh's going to take it by a whisker over Nick Percat. 4/100ths of a second between those two drivers. So fantastic racing, and good to see them keeping it clean right through. We've got a car backwards at the start-finish line. I'm not sure who that was in the background there, but they're still racing right down through the field here. We're down to 9th place, just coming through to take the checker flag soon. And fantastic race there. We're going to get Cody and that in for a chat shortly. We'll get the podium in, and we'll get the results for you for race number 1 as well up on the board. Now, Cody, good job, mate. You're live on the broadcast. Coming home with the win there in race number 1 tonight. How was it? Did you find that fun?
Oh, yeah, I guess it was a little bit boring, but I mean, you're never going to complain just to get out the front and drive away. So, It was good fun. I mean, yeah, like I said, it was a little. You always like to have a good battle, but yeah, I'm not going to complain, to be honest. It's going to be interesting in the reverse grid for the next one.
Yeah, well, that's it. You're going to have your hands full in the second race as you come from, I guess, 20th position through. Now, I've also brought the other guys in for a quick chat here as well. So, Zach coming home in P2. Good job, mate. You are only 2.7 seconds off the lead in the end there.
Yeah, I think for most of the race I lacked pace compared to Cody. I don't know why. I just wasn't as driving as well as obviously. So yeah, I got some things to work on, but on the next race I don't think it's going to be about speed.
Yeah, and we saw a fair bit of carnage down into turn 1 from about position 10 back. So you guys are going to be in the thick of it for race number 2, which will get underway shortly. Now, Brady, you also had a great run there with Nick Percat, and we thought you were just lining up that pass for the final lap there, and you got it done in the end.
Yeah, mate. Nick was down on power there, but obviously the guys at the front had got away, so I was just trying to keep Trent enough back for Nick and I to have a little battle at the end. But yeah, he was a bit bent up, so I was a bit quicker.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys were doing a fair bit of bump drafting too. Now, is it something you guys had talked about beforehand? Because I saw it right throughout the field, and I was thinking, man, it's got to be so dangerous for losing a nose cone or a front wing, in these cars. Is it something that you talked about, or Brady?
So you got me?
Oh yeah, you got you now. Yep, you're dropping in and out a bit.
Sorry. Yeah, Nick and I saw Nick coming, and then I basically let him go. He was a little bit quicker at that point, and we were going to try and see if we could bridge that gap to the front. But if you just line it up square with the rear of the car, it's not a problem at all.
Yeah, well, good job, guys. Now, good luck in race number 2. Cody, you'll be starting out at 20th by the looks of things. And once again, the podium there. Good job, boys. It was coming home for some entertaining racing throughout the pack. And obviously, Cody, you said it was a little bit boring at the front, but it was still a good spectacle. And you guys are now going to have your hands absolutely full for race 2, Cody.
Yeah, correct. It's going to be a pretty busy race. I think if you get through the first 2 chicanes, it'll make the job. If you get through those clean, it should create some good racing, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. All right, good luck, boys. Jump out there, do a bit of warm up, and we'll hopefully chat to you later on in the event.
No worries, thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys. So that was your podium. I'm going to get those results for you up on the screen right now from heat number 1. And there they are. So the official results or unofficial results, they do review these things for the Australian Formula Ford eChallenge round number 3, race number 1. Cody Birchie taking out the win there from Zach Bates, who came home in position 2. Then Brady McHugh just pipping Nick Percat there by 4/100ths of a second there in position 4. Trent, Grubel, Girton, Cortis, Liston, Evans and Clay Richards coming home to round out the 10. Then you had Quinn Donaldson, Behaga, Freeman, Foraker, D'Alia, Bjerke and Freeman down into 18th place. And Cameron and Dyson both racing tonight. And then we go over the page there just to see the other guys. That a fair few of them were caught up in that race incident at the start. Cody Donald, Jackson, Thomas Kircher, Goodman, Limmer, White, Owen, Allen. Unfortunately, Cooper Allen not making the race with some internet connection issues. And Terence Nilsson, possibly the same issue, not being able to get into race number 1. All right, let's get down to the track and we'll watch a couple of these drivers getting around. But first of all, we're going to have a quick interview and we'll show you this great Formula Ford pre-recorded interview with Nick Percat. Hopefully you guys enjoy this.
For me, Formula Ford is raw racing, learning, battle packs and racecraft. It's a great category to be starting.
Has the backing of Walkinshaw Racing over the last couple of years, so a man on the radar perhaps for the future.
Nick Percat, tell us about the first time you drove a Formula Ford.
Yeah, for me it was at Mallala. I think it was like 2005. A Kent car. It was just an older car to learn in, and we ended up racing that at a few of the South Australian State Series races. And I remember driving out of pits thinking, this thing is real fast. How do you change gears and what do you do? But thankfully, Dad was on the wall watching. He's like, maybe he's actually not too bad at this. So yeah, we ended up pursuing it after that day, really.
And good job you did, because you're a record holder in terms of race wins in the category and an Australian champion.
Yeah, it was very thankful. Luckily, we managed to get a contract with Walkinshaw Racing, and they believed in the Formula Ford program to make sure the drivers are learning the mechanical side of the car, learning how to drive a car with no wings and slicks, and yeah, landed myself into a pretty handy Sonic Miguel there for the last 2 years. Won tons of races, massive amount of pole positions, and ultimately won the championship with Mick and everyone at Sonic. So it's that 2-year period with Mick was pretty special for me, and I still do work for him today, trying to help the young drivers coming through the Formula Ford ranks now.
You had quite an old school sort of career in terms of you went from being a Formula Ford champion to being a Bathurst 1000 winner pretty quickly. I mean, I guess it speaks volumes about what you learned during your time in the category.
Yeah, exactly. I think between, obviously, when you had the backing of back then the Holden Racing team, and I had all the engineers and drivers there to be able to suck information out of, and then going under the wing of someone like Mick Ritter was probably the best decision we ever made. The first year I entered Formula Ford, and I was with Ball and Racing Development, and it wasn't really clicking for me, and they built a great race car out of Australia, but for me I needed someone like Ritter who is hard on the drivers, but he teaches the correct way, and he takes you aside and will actually sit down and teach you. And for me, without that knowledge being passed on, I wouldn't be standing here today talking about it, because I still use all the techniques that Mick taught me back in 2007 December when I did my first ever test day for them. So it is pretty cool, and it just shows that the road coming through Formula Ford is massively important. And the reason why me and I think how many supercar drivers have either come through Sonic or won an Australian Formula Ford championship, we don't all land here for no reason. We learn how to drive the cars, we learn the mechanical side of things, and the champions end up standing in a supercar pit lane.
You mentioned that you still do some work with Sonic and you still work in Formula Ford. Do you still see it as the pathway? Can you still see how drivers come in and develop in that category?
Formula Ford is the car you need to sit in, and you need to drive it. You need to understand mechanical sympathy with changing gears with a H pattern, try not to damage dog rings, understanding what makes a car actually and a tyre grip the road with mechanical grip rather than band-aiding it with wings with low horsepower. So for me, Formula Ford is the perfect stepping stone, and anyone who ever asked me, it's get into Formula Ford. If you think you're any good, go to Sonic. If you don't win with Sonic, you can probably not pursue it. It's cutthroat kind of way to go about it, but we know that team runs such a good operation. If you go there and you don't win, there's probably not the right career for you. So for me, you need to be through Formula Ford, and that's why I'm still so involved. I want to see the next champions coming through. I want to try and pass on some information that I have to them to help them come through, because without that category being strong, I'm not sure who's going to be replacing the likes of myself, Scotty Pye, Blanchard, Whincup, and Davison. Who's going to replace us if we haven't got a good crop coming through?
Yeah, great there to hit from Nick Percat, and what a fantastic ambassador to still be coming along to this event tonight and racing with all these guys that are racing in the current Australian Formula Ford Championship. And it's fantastic that he can come and race in this event. Finishing 4th in race number 1, and he was right up there running in 3rd for most of the event. Now this reverse top 20 is really going to keep people on their toes. And I reckon we're going to see a bit of carnage once again, but hopefully as the quicker guys come through, they can get through and work their way up towards the front. We should have plenty of good battles along the way. Some times up on the board. We'll just go back to live shots here because we did delay that a little bit there. And we can currently see McHugh is the quickest in warm-up. Kyle Evans out there on the track too, currently running in P2, and Dialia in P3. So these guys are just doing a quick 10-minute warm-up session, only about a minute to go before we get set for race number 2. Once again, 12 laps around this place will be fantastic, and all these drivers, let's hope they can get through turn 1 quickly, safely, and then we can get on with some good racing. Now, it's interesting to talk to the top 3 about the bump drafting and how that was planned, and how if you hit these cars nice and square on the rear and get the nose just under the gearbox there, it doesn't do any damage with iRacing. So we may see a bit more of that once again in race number 2. It definitely is a risky thing to do, I reckon, from my point of view anyway, doing a little bit of this sim racing. Clay Richards out on the racetrack as well. There he is, and Jake Donaldson running around. He'll be hoping to have a better run in this second race. Let's go down and get the Twitch cam up for Jake. You see him on the screen right now, and it's good to see these guys racing. You know, you get to see them in their natural habitat there, in their rooms at home or wherever they are in the house, racing. And they're logging on most days to get some practice in, if nothing else, some good hand-eye coordination stuff and just keeping your skills honed. Obviously, you don't get that seat of the pants G-force feel that you're doing a real race car, but it's definitely still worthwhile getting out there and doing some racing. Everyone else sort of going back into the pits now. Dyson Freeman, we haven't spoken about too much tonight. There he is right now out on the track. We'll get a shot of that car nice and close up as he goes past our camera position. And nice looking race car. Let's jump on board with him. And like Icky said in the very introduction of the show, racing the Formula Renault, because iRacing does not have a Formula Ford, it's a car that I wish they would actually bring out, because I think it would just really create such close, fun racing, and it would just be a real big, advantage for iRacing to have something like a Formula Ford. Righto, let's get set to go to race number 2 now, and this will be the reverse top 20. We'll get the grid for you up on the screen, folks. And it's going to be Joshua Jackson off the front row with Cody Donald. And then you're going to have Dyson Freeman off position 3 with Bjerke next to him. As they start to line up for us, Dialia and Foraker off the 3rd row. Freeman and Behager there off the 4th row. Donaldson and Quinn off the 5th row. Richards and Evans off the 6th row. We'll go over the page. Then you're going to have Liston and Cordes back there, Girton and Grubel, Percat and McHugh down there in 17th and 18th, and our race winners, Bircher in 20th and Bates in 19th, who came second in the first race. Then we've got Thomas Kircher, Goodman, Limmer and Steve White down in 24th place. Owen, Allen and Nilsson off the back there, and unfortunately, as we said earlier, Cooper Allen not making it to the race with internet connection issues. All the drivers starting to get set to go racing. Clay Richards just dropping in and out there a little bit. Let's hope he's got secure for a race start. I'm really hoping these drivers all get down to turn 1 nice and cleanly. The revs start to rise here. We're about a minute into staging. We'll see them get underway very, very soon. And let's hope, like I said, we get a clean start. They're already rising. The revs rise. We're green here at Monza for race number 2. At the back, they're already changing positions as they head down wheel to wheel into turn 1. It's going to be a huge braking zone down here. We will get the gains up for you on the screen so we see who are the movers and shakers. Look at this as they come down into the first chicane. Let's hope they all get through cleanly. We've got a crash at the back. I think Freeman got through. We're just trying to see who that was at the back going around. Definitely one car. Oh, Cooper Allen, is he out there? I think he might have actually made the race with that connection issue, but everyone actually getting through quite nicely there. There was a spinner at the back, but they regathered and got it running straight away. So it's Foraker at the front with a nice jump. Bjerke going wheel to wheel here with Dialia down into the second chicane now. Hard on the brakes. Dialia gets the job done, so he moves himself now up into second position. Good job, Donald. We got someone spun around in the fence. That's Lewis, unfortunately, hitting the fence there in the 22 car. So he's going to try and rejoin here. He has to watch the whole field go through, unfortunately, and that's going to cost him plenty of time. We'll just freeze the camera there. You can see them flying over our curb cam there. And Percat in the mix there as well, going wheel to wheel with Kyle Evans back there. So Percat's really made his way up already into 8th position. And looking at a couple of these guys that started at the back, I think Percat's probably the biggest mover and shaker. Let's get those gains up for you now on the screen. And Percat up 9 spots there. So we've got a change of position again as Freeman, Dyson's gone around. Unfortunately, there he is off the racetrack pointing the wrong way. And everyone else getting through there nicely down towards the parabolica for the first time. Foraker under attack here. Riding on board with him now. You can just see that he's side by side with Dialia, who's going to get the run through on the inside. Foraker will now plan his move to attack down this main straightaway once again. He's got nice clear air behind him, and so we had a quick look in the rear shot there from the camera. It's a good gap of about almost 2 seconds back to Bjerke there. So wheel to wheel once again. Foraker to the lead of this race, and he'll have the inside line down into the first chicane. So fantastic running off the start. This battle here with Percat. Look at this, folks. There's a huge crash in the background. I'm trying to work out who that is. Oh, there's absolute carnage down there in the back play. We've got a car on its roof. And, oh, boy, we're going to have to try and review that, I reckon, because there's a car missing its rear wing. That's Liston missing the whole rear end of that car. Jackson's also got his engine cover missing. And Cordes has got a bit of a bent rear wing on that car too. So Oh, huge impact down there. I think Liston might have been one of the people that was involved early on in that, but I will go back and try and regather a replay for you soon. Birch is back into 12th place, so Cody Bircher also having an incident at the start there on lap 1 or partway into lap 2. So right throughout the field there, some incidents happening. Dialia still hanging on for second. We got this great battle between Zach Bates, who's moved up 13 spots now behind Grubel, and he's chasing down Nick Percat, who's running out a bit by himself there, already up into 4th, so absolutely flying. And doing a really good job. And someone in Facebook asking about not using the Skip Barber cars, using the Formula Renaults instead. I guess it's the fact that the Skip Barbers are actually slower than a Formula Ford. So around Phillip Island, for example, they were a fair bit slower in lap time. So they've chosen to use something that's quicker and just lets these guys step up a category rather than stepping backwards to a slower car. So I think this was a good mix. They've tuned a lot of the aero out of these cars to make them pretty slippy. As Nick Percat told us earlier in the broadcast, they're slippy like a Formula Ford would be. So doing a nice job here. And at the moment, it's Foraker leading the race from Dialia. You can see them really battling now as Percat's managed to catch up right onto the back of Bjerke there on lap 3, and he gets the job done. So Ryan's going to go back a position there, racing from the US of A tonight. And Nick Percat there up into 3rd spot now, so he's up on the podium. He'll be happy with that. Let's hope he can pull it up there, get it through the first chicane. We're on lap 3 of 12. Thomas Kircher also running really well here on the back of Cody Bircher, so they're trying to move through the field. Cody started in 20th, he's now up to 9th place. And Thomas started in 21st, I think it was. He's up into 10th. So these guys moving through the field together and racing very nicely indeed. This battle is alive, though, between 3rd, 4th and 5th. Zach Bates there, right up onto the back of Bjerke now. So we're right on board with Trent Grubel for a little bit here. You see the battle up ahead. They're going wheel to wheel into the first Lesmo, and that's not where you want to go wheel to wheel, because that has created an incident there. And Bjerke, he's off the racetrack. He won't be happy with that, because it's not the sort of place you want to stick a wheel down on the inside there. We'll go back and have a quick look at the replay there. So Bates having a bit of a look. Let's have a look on the replay. He just tucked down the inside. He sort of was halfway up along, and unfortunately that's pushed Bjerke out. We'll go back and have a quick look at the replay from the start as well, see if we can work out what happened in all that carnage. Lap 1, look at that. That's while it had already started. We'll take it back a little bit from there, and we'll take the replay back a fair bit. So you can just see in the background there was a car already spinning, and then it absolutely went berserk from then on. And oh boy, there's a car on its roof, absolutely flying. iRacing doing a funny few little crazy things there too. So we'll go back to live and get pictures up the front. You can see a few cars just coming out of the pit lane. Jake Foraker with his hands absolutely full here as he flies down the front straight. So Foraker, Dialia in P2. We've got Nick Percat in P3. That gap has opened up a little bit. It's almost 3 seconds back to Percat in P3. Zach Bates in P4. Grubel back in 5th place. And then you've got Girton, Freeman, Bircher now up into 8th place, so he's moved up another position. Dialia's going to have a look down here into the second chicane. Doesn't get it done. Just backs out a little bit, probably just waiting, biding his time a bit, thinking about the opportunity and where to take it. It's probably the Parabolica, but then you do get the unfortunate thing with this racetrack, if you look at it that way, is you can get past someone down into the Parabolica. They will usually pass you back down the main straight, but that is the great thing for us viewing the race. And what we want to see is nice and quick through there. And Foraker is just pulling out a bit of a lead there, 0.5 of a second it is. You can see that he had a nice run through the second of the Lesmos there, down this big long straightaway towards the Scari chicane. Let's see if he pulls up under brakes here. We'll get the gap back up on the screen. So you can see it's down to 0.4, and he does close it down now. Almost down to 0.3. He'll get a nice draft here once again. You can see the understeer really pushing the car through there. Now he's tucked under the rear wing. He'll try and stay with him in the slipstream. You'll see Foraker probably dive around a little bit here, trying to break the toe. And nice job. It's down to 0.3. So you can see that is about about 1 or 2 tenths he gained down that straightaway in the toe. Let's see how he goes now here as he tucks in once again. out of the parabolica. They'll run down probably side by side, I reckon, into the chicane. Looking out the back from Jake Foraker's car in position 1 at the moment. We've still got Nick Percat in 3rd, Bates in 4th, tucked right up underneath now, but he's not going for the pass. I think he's going for the push. He is, so he's tucked up on the back, giving a bit of a push, and we're seeing that all day long, aren't we? So they're not wanting to pass these guys. They're happy just to push, bump draft they call it in the US, and just keep moving forwards away from the likes of Nick Percat, who's got the gap down to 2.8 seconds. And there he is on your screen now, chasing down the leaders. Got Bates there hanging on in 4th, Grubel back there in 5th. Then we go back to Gerton in 6th, Freeman in 7th, and this little battle here between Freeman and Bircher is still looming. Let's right on board here with Cody. Synergy Motorsport. Let's see what he can do down into the chicane here. He'll be really trying to get to a podium from 20th place here. He'll be pretty excited if he can do that. But it's going to be a lot of hard work, I reckon. So he fires it down now. You can just see it's really closed up between Grubel and Gerton in front of him. So Trent's going to have his hands full with these drivers. In fact, sorry, no, that's Goodman. He's out of position. So we've got Goodman's the lap car just in between these drivers now, and we're just going to see Cody swing around past him and put him down a lap. And he's got it rerunning. I think after that huge incident at the start, that pushed him a long way back down the field. Looking out the back now from Freeman's car, that's Cameron Freeman. You can see Cody Bircher really starting to close up once again. We've got a yellow flag, so that's interesting. We've got a caution out here. And that will be the first time we've had a caution, I think, in the last couple of rounds anyway. So the safety car will come out onto the racetrack, pick up our leader, and interesting that they've done that. So this will just help a few drivers out, close everything down, and we did have a fair few guys taken out at the start there. That will be an interesting aspect of this race. So we might try and see if we can grab someone in for a chat whilst we're under caution here at Monza. You can just see there's our leaders. They'll try and pick up the safety car pretty soon. I reckon there it is now. The Porsche safety car comes out in front of Jake Foraker. This will really make things interesting, won't it? With I reckon by the time we get done with the safety car, we'll probably have about 4 laps to run in this race. And we'll get a chance now just to catch our breath and find out where everyone is. It's Foraker, D'Alia, Nick Percat into 3rd place, Bates in 4th. Then you got Grubel. Trent Grubel, that is, up 11 spots in 5th place. So I might just take this chance just to show you the gains up on the screen there. You can see how many drivers have moved through the field here. So 14 places for Percat, 15 places for Bates, and then Grubel up 11. Gerton up 9, Birch is up 12, Thomas Kircher also up 12 spots, and Whitey, Steve White down there in 12th, he's up 12 spots as well. So good effort. A few of these cars getting the wave rounds now. You're probably thinking, why are some of these cars flying past the pace car? That's because they're getting a wave round to bring them back onto the lead lap, which is fantastic for racing. Gives these guys a chance to actually have a big hit here for the last 4 or 5 laps or so in the race. So nice job. We are here in race 2. And at the moment, Foraker, he had it all under control, didn't he? So he'll probably be a little bit disappointed that they have called a safety car here, because he was running away with this with D'Alia, but he definitely had the advantage at the start there. We've got Foraker in the green room. We might have a quick chat with him now. And while we're under caution here, live on the broadcast, Jake, how you going, mate? Can you hear me, Jake? Just going to try and get him up for a chat. Jakey, you might have pushed to talk on, mate. Can you hear me? Oh, not sure what's happened to Jake there. He's actually just dropped out of the race. Hopefully it's not something to do with trying to get his mic to work there. Just going to drop him back into the green room there for a sec. And that's really not good if he's dropped himself somehow out of the race. Let's hope he didn't press the wrong button there when he was trying to chat to me, because he's gone. He's out of the race completely. He's disappeared off the timing screen even. So wow, D'Alia now goes up into the lead. And I'm just going to try and get Icky or someone to chat to Jake and just see if he's okay. So I'm just typing away. You can probably hear that in the background there. But D'Alia now up into the lead of the race. Nick Percat in 2nd. Bates up into 3rd. And Trent Grubel up into 4th. And we're just under caution here. Give us about 30 seconds here. Going to take a quick break, and I'll be back hopefully to have a chat to Jake and see what happened. So we're under caution here at Monza. Lap 7 of 12, so there's a lot going on, isn't there? We're going to hopefully chat to Jake in a minute and work out what's happened there with his internet connection. We were trying to have a conversation and unfortunately he disappeared out of the race. He's back there running now. No, he's just dropping down the timing board, so he's dropped right out of the timing, and I'm hoping there that it wasn't something to do with trying to chat to us and he lost his connection somehow. So Rob Browning there just saying on the chat, Steve White doing good for a veteran. Yeah, he's doing good, isn't he? Let's see where he is at the moment. We'll have a look at him running down there in 15th place. He's up 9 spots as well, so that's definitely a good effort for Stevie White, and it was good to have a chat with him earlier in the race tonight. And they should go green, I reckon, next time around, so we will get about 4.5 laps to go, 5 laps probably to go in this event, so it's going to be pretty frantic, I reckon. And it looks like Jake has lost his connection altogether, so not 100% sure. We know Cooper Allen had an issue with his connection tonight and dropped out. And Jake, who was leading the race, is gone, dropped off our timing screen. And just as we were going to have a chat with him, it appears that his internet has failed and he's dropped out of the race. So I guess it's something that they do encounter, a bit like you have in the real racing world with a failure or a computer issue in the car, or a fuel pump dying, that sort of stuff. The internet can sometimes die on our drivers, and that's what's happened tonight for a couple of them. So we'll definitely try and work out what has happened and bring you that news as soon as we can. But Nick Percat's been elevated up into 2nd position here. So we'll have a chat to these guys once again after the race, and let's see if they can bring it home from here, because I reckon there's going to be a fair bit of toing and froing once we do get underway again. And you're going to see the likes of Birchie now up into 7th place. We know he's quick. He was quick in race 1. He won that quite easily. He's going to have a good shot now at trying to make a few positions up on the restart and getting down there and possibly getting up into a podium position. Righto, we'll just keep an eye on that safety car, see if the lights go out this time around. Let's hope they do, so we can get back underway here at Monza for our 2nd race tonight of round number 3 of the Australian Formula Ford eChallenge. And once again, a big thank you to the Formula Ford Association for putting on this event. And it's been fantastic. The first 2 rounds have been great with Phillip Island and Laguna Seca, and then this week Monza has been fantastic racing right throughout the field. So safety car looks like it's staying out for one more lap. The lights are still flashing on top, but sometimes that can trick us in iRacing. Let's see how we go here, if we get a going green or not. In fact, we can probably bring up Jake. He's 1 to green. There you go. So just on the screen there, I could do a sneaky little look on the webcam or the Twitch feed of Jake just to check. It's got 1 more to green. So 1 more lap under the pace car here. And all these drivers just weaving, keeping their tyres warm as they come down the front straightaway. And you just see in the background there our Porsche safety car. And there's big links between Porsche and Formula Ford as well. So it's great to see the Porsche safety car out there running around with all these drivers. So we will go green again onto lap 9. So we'll have lap 9, 10, 11 and 12. So 4 laps to finish out this race. It will be crazy to see how they go, especially down into turn 1. And we've had word that Jake's trying to log back in, but unfortunately his computer crashed trying to chat to us. So, oh boy, I feel a bit bad about that. He was leading the race. He came in to have a chat, and unfortunately his computer decided it's had enough, and it's crashed on him. He's doing a restart and trying to connect back in. So, oh boy, that's for the championship points in this E-Series. That's going to be crucial, but it's not much you can do about that. It's just a computer issue. And let's hope he can rebound in the final 2 rounds of this eChallenge and come back strong. We know he will. He's a quick racer. He's a quick racer in real life as well. Nick Percat there, just hanging on in P2. Zach Bates also in P3, just tucked in behind as we go around here under caution. And who do you think is going to win this one? We've got the likes of Alec Limmer as well and Steve White. Give them a bit of credit. They're up 9 positions in 14th and 15th. And there is Steve White back there in 15th. Just probably thinking about what he'd do now with his wise head on his shoulders, thinking what will the plan be down to turn 1. He's going to have about 8 or so cars behind him. Do you go defensive, or do you just really attack that first chicane and hope for the best? We're going to go green very, very soon. Looking forward to that. We'll look down from our chopper, get a great shot of this Monza circuit. You can see as they head around down this back straightaway, we call it, and it is a fantastic venue, this one. You can just see the remnants there of the just as we take the camera across there, you can just see the oval track there hiding in the trees as we look down from our helicopter there, and the cars just going under that now. So there's the old oval track, and the cars, as we just zoom in, cameraman Joe doing a good job for us up there, zooming in on all the cars going through underneath that historic piece of racetrack. And then we just look down towards the Ascari chicane and down the big long straightaway as our chopper just hangs up in the air there. There is the parabolica, and that's where the lights will go out on the safety car, and we'll head through there very shortly for what will be a fantastic restart to this race. Righto, folks, thank you for tuning in today. We're about set to go green here, and this will be a chaotic last 4 laps or so. Dialia, can he hang on at the front? Can Nick Percat say something about that? We've got a car going past there trying to get a lap back. I think that might be Foraker, it is. So he's managed to rejoin. Oh boy, my heart goes out to him because he was racing so well at the front. He's going to go around here, and they possibly could have delayed the start one more lap, but that's not good for the broadcast and viewing. But he'll race around, try and catch up to the back of the pack, but I'm afraid it's a long way to catch up to Daly, who's just coming through the final corner now. And we'll just do a sneaky once again check. Delayed green. So there you go. We are having a delayed green here. So they're going to let Foraker come around, hopefully catch the field, and they may even let him jump back into position. I'm not sure how they'll work that, but his disconnection error, they might try and get him back to the front somehow. So that's pretty fantastic if they do. Let's just pick up where he is on the racetrack. There he is. So he's going flat chat, trying to catch the pack again. He's going to have to do basically a quali lap here, get around back onto the back of the pack. And at least we've got one man out on the circuit at full race speed. And it is Jake Foraker, unfortunately, getting that disconnection when he tried to chat to us under safety car. So I feel terrible about that. Obviously not my fault, but that little bit of extra stress of switching over to Discord to chat to us probably threw his computer there over the edge, and it said no more, turned itself off, and here he is having to reconnect and try and chase down the field, which is still under caution here. We'll jump on board again with Jake Donaldson. There he is. We got the Twitch cam feed for him as well, and he's currently back in P11 for Synergy Motorsport. He's just looking around, having a bit of a breather. You can see him talking to someone, probably in Discord there. In fact, I can just see down now and see that he's in a room with Steve Cortis. So those guys are probably just having a little bit of a chat. No, sorry, he's not. He's in a different room. He's in with Cody Burgess, so those guys having a bit of a chat. He's also got Zach Bates in that room as well. So these drivers jump into different chat rooms. They can talk while they're driving, and it's a pretty cool thing. It's a good community spirit. Got all the Formula Ford Australian eChallenge guys out there. Obviously not racing on the real racetrack at the moment, but looking forward to getting back to testing on the 20th of June. So some good news coming through on that part. And we're just going through about halfway around the racetrack here under caution. We'll get the track map up. You can see 22nd position on the racetrack. That is Jake Foraker, just coming down to the first chicane now. So you can just see on your screen there, he's just about half the racetrack behind, still trying to catch up. Just flick across and see where he is. And he's up at full speed. There he is, just going down around the Curva Grande at the moment. And he should be able to catch the back of the pack before it does go green. So that'll be good. And we're only going to have 3 laps of racing now to finish this one out. So in fact, it'll go very, very close to time certain. We'll have to keep an eye on that. It's a 30-minute cutoff for this race. It'll be interesting to see how he goes with that. But at the moment, he's catching up to the pack. There is the pack. Weaving around, it's Dialia, Percat, Bates, Grubel. That's your top 4. Then you got Gurdon, Freeman, Bircher in 7th place. Thomas Kircher, Bjerke in 9th place, and Behager there in 10th. And we just had a comment coming through saying, will it go time certain? It could do. We should get the laps in at this stage. So it's a 30-minute time certainty. You can see that on the left-hand side of the screen. We're currently at the 23-minute mark now. We're looking at laps around here of around 1 minute 50. So we'll definitely get 3 of those in the 6 minutes that we'll have remaining once we go green here. But we'll see how we go. Let's have a quick sneak at that We got 1 to green still on the screen there for Donaldson, but I reckon we're going to go green this time around. The lights are off on the pace car. Not sure where. We can see on the track map that he's managed to catch up onto the back. So Foraker is at the back of the pack. He hasn't been able to take position back, but he'll definitely regain at the back of this pack. And heart goes out to him. He definitely, it wasn't, something that can happen in sim racing. Your computer fails, and we're going to wait here. D'Alia really going slow here, waiting to apply the throttle. He does that now, gets underway, and here we go, folks. 3 laps to go in this race. We've got 6 minutes on the clock. We should get them all in. It's going to go really close here. Nick Percat's going to have a crack, I think, down into turn 1. Wheel-to-wheel racing here. He has a look. He gets the job done at the moment. He's got a pretty clear run behind him, so they've got away nicely, these 2 guys. Percat hard on the brakes. D'Alia's going to get hung out to dry a little bit here, because I tell you what, Grubel's going to make a pass as well. So nice racing there. Trent Grubel taking advantage of that. D'Alia drops back to 3rd. Zach Bates now into 4th place. Then you've got Kyle Gurton up into 5th. Cody Bircher managing to jump up into 6th place. So he's made up a position off the restart too. Then you got Freeman, Thomas Kircher, Donaldson in 9th, and Behaga rounds out your top 10. Percat leading this one. Hard on the brakes again. Trent Grubel's going to have something to say about that, though. He's chasing him very, very hard here with only 3 laps to go, or 2.5 laps to go now. So it should be a great end of this race. Nick Percat, if he can hang on and win this one, I reckon he'll be absolutely stoked. And here he goes. He's got about a gap of 0.6 of a second now over Grubel. As they run through here once again, we'll freeze the camera there. You can see the whole field coming through. And I tell you what, Birch is right up onto the back of Gurton now too. Let's go and have a look at that battle. He's going to go through. He's going wheel to wheel here with Gurton down into the Ascari chicane. He's going on the wrong side of the racetrack as far as getting the move done. Surely he won't go around the outside here. Twitches a little bit under brakes there. Tucks back in behind Gurton. He'll have another go down towards the Parabolica for sure. It's really close racing at the front here now. This is really tighten things up. We've got a huge crash in the background there. I saw a lot of smoke. I'm just trying to see who that is off the racetrack in the fence. Oh, Steve Owens missing the whole front of that car. And there was a car out. I think it's Thomas Kircher it was. So unfortunately, he's out of that one. We'll go back to the front though, because there's a lot of action happening between the top 4 or 5 drivers at the moment. Percat's got away nicely. Grubel chasing down here with Bates. He's got D'Alia right on his tail. As you can just see him over to the edge of the racetrack there. So these guys racing really hard indeed. Look at this. Pushing, trying to get up onto the back of Percat. Dives out of the slipstream now, down under brakes into turn 1. He's not going to try and stick a wheel in there. Surely not. He goes around the outside of turn 2. Bates cuts across in front, and they're both going to be out of this one, I think. Bates hits the fence. Unfortunately, that was never going to work. He's going to get it going again, but that was never going to work through there. Trying to go wheel to wheel through 2, and unfortunately that's put Bates out of this race. At the front though, meanwhile, Percat, he's got a great gap, 2 seconds. Back to D'Alia. Bircher just jumps in front now of Gurton. You can see this battle really raging as he's got to try and chase down D'Alia now. So you can just see on your screen, Cody Bircher up 17 spots into 3rd. And Gurton pushed back another position. Jake Donaldson having a great run. Up in 5th spot now. There is Jake on our Twitch cam. Running really well indeed. He'll be stoked with that. Sorry about the safety car. We'll get rid of that off the screen. And there you go, folks. Jake Donaldson up in 5th. And he'll be happy with that finish. Up 4 spots from where he started in this reverse top 20. Don't forget, we've had the reverse top 20 for this one. Let's go back to Cameron Freeman, who's under attack here from Grubel. And these guys racing really hard. Also back, we've got Alec Limmer in a big battle here as well. So wheel-to-wheel action right throughout the field here as they go side by side down into the Ascari chicane. And you're going to see Limmer just hanging back there. And Evans is off the track. What's happened to Kyle? He's ejected out of the race, so he's gone. Oh, we got a big impact in front too. That was 2 cars in the fence there. Freeman and Foraker, unfortunately, in the fence. And that's the end of their race. And that was Dyson Freeman, unfortunately. He gets it running again, but he's got a fair bit of damage. And unfortunately, Foraker, that's going to be the end for him. I'm just trying to pick him up on camera. He's got a lot of damage on that car. The front wheel's hanging off, and looks like the steering's pretty well broken on that car, and that will be the end of what's been a miserable second race with those internet issues. We got the white flag now, so 1 lap to go at the front. Nick Percat leading this one from Cody Bircher, chasing him down. D'Alia in P3. Who's going to win it out of these two? We're right on board here with Bircher. I don't think he's going to be able to track that gap down with a lap to go here. There's 2 seconds at the moment is the gap between first and second. Bircher chasing down Percat here. The closest battle after that, I tell you what, they've all fanned out a little bit now. It was so close. Everyone's sort of just got that gap of a second between them now as they come down the racetrack. We'll try and freeze the camera. We'll freeze it there, and you can just see Bircher in the background. Then you got D'Alia, Gurton, Donaldson as our camera goes a little bit blurry. We'll try and clear that up for you. There you go. You can just see right back to Grubel. Quinn's in there as well in the yellow car. Then you got Alec Limmer in the back play as well. Steve White having a nice run up into 11th now. So White Dog doing a good job catching up very quickly indeed. He'll be pretty happy with that after starting right down near the back of this race. We're on the final couple of corners to go now as they come up to the Ascari chicane for the last time. Nick Percat leading this one by about 1.2 seconds. I'm not sure Bircher's going to have enough to catch him now with only about, 30 seconds of racing to go, and he's got to catch down about a second gap. We're right on board with Birch. You can see that is the gap there. And I tell you what, he's going to be pretty close by the end. I reckon he'll get a slipstream here. He'll get a slipstream around the last corner as well, along the main straightaway, and he should get pretty close, but it's about a second. I think Nick Percat's going to do everything right here and take this win in race number 2. So the veteran, the VA supercar driver, someone who did so well in Formula Ford, winning a championship, has come through now. He's won at Bathurst. Now he's won at Monza in the eChallenge for the Formula Ford Series, and fantastic win there. Weaving over the line, Cody Bircher coming home in P2, and D'Alia coming home for a great 3rd place there. Jake Donaldson ending up in 4th place. He'll be stoked with that. And Kyle Gurton coming home in 5th. So fantastic run for all those drivers. We'll bring you all the results very shortly, but I tell you what, Nick Percat, let's get him live on now. Nick, we'll have a quick chat with you on your cool down lap, mate. Great win there. You got to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
Coming down from well, you made up 16 spots there in the feature race to win that one. What was it like from your point of view? Pretty hectic at the start.
Yeah, it was. Just picked my line and then kind of snuck through.
We're just losing you a little bit there on the chat.
I'm back now.
Yep, that's better. Gotcha. So, yeah, you picked your line. You got through cleanly. There was a fair bit of carnage behind you, and you probably went through past a few cars that were flying in the air, but you managed to get through unscathed, and Cody was giving you a bit of a run at the end there. Cody's in the chat as well, but you managed to come home by 9/10 of a second in the end.
Yeah, I rolled it right off the last lap because Mick Ritter would kill me if I threw away a win for Sonic. I'm obviously driving for Sonic again. I'm back.
Very good. But no, nice job. And Cody coming home in P2 there. You got to be happy with that. Coming from 20th on the grid, you've come through 18 spots to manage to get through there. And we had, unfortunately, Jake Foraker having some internet issues there under safety car of all things. His computer crashed. He dropped out of it. But good job, man, coming home in P2.
Yeah, thank you. It's been unfortunate for Jake, but I mean, yeah, what can you do? Once again, you can't really do much about it. It just happens. But that was a good fun race. I made a mistake I sort of picked the wrong line going into the first chicane on one of the laps and spun trying to miss some traffic. Just clipped the grass and it didn't stop. So, but other than that, yeah, it was a good race. It was a bit of I guess just avoiding the carnage.
Yeah, that's it.
Which I suppose once you just navigated that correctly or the best you could, the rest of it sort of fell into place, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Nick, I was hoping you're going to do some good donuts for us. Looks good, mate. Keep it up. This will make the highlight package. So there's your race winner on the screen right now, Nick Percat. Celebrating there. I think Benjamin D'Alia there as well. We'll get those results for the feature up on the screen now. And I will try and get Ben in for a chat as well. But, Nick, it's great to have you joining this Formula Ford eChallenge round 3. Can we get you back for round 4 and 5? I think he's a little bit busy there, frying the tyres on that car.
What's next we're going to?
Oh, what have we got, Cody? What's coming up? We've got Bathurst, I think, as the final round. Is that right? But what have we got next week?
Yeah, next is Silverstone.
Silverstone.
The final one's Bathurst.
Okay, you've picked good tracks there. I could come back.
Silverstone should be exciting. And using the new version, obviously, Cody.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. So that'll be fun seeing you guys go through Maggots and Beckett's in these cars. And we should have a full field back, being that it won't be on a long weekend. So that should be great. But,
yep, for sure.
But yeah, good job. And once again, as we finish up the broadcast, Nick, just a big thanks for coming along tonight, racing and winning race number 2. And hopefully we can have you back for Silverstone. And Cody, for all your hard work that you put in as well in the back play, big thanks, man. It's been a great series, and we know you put a fair bit of time in helping organise this as well. So you've come home in second. Congratulations.
No worries. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Right, thanks heaps, guys. Thanks, Nick. And we'll see you guys very, very soon. So So that was your winners there. Let me just take you quickly through the results as we'll also show a quick replay of them coming across to finish the checker flag. And like Nick said, he did back off a little bit there at the end, but it got down to 9/10 of a second, so it was pretty close between himself and Cody. And what a fantastic race we had tonight. Commiserations go out to Jake Foraker. Unfortunately, that disconnection error mean that he missed out what possibly would have been a win in race number 2. Let's get those final results for you up on the screen right now. We'll run through them all. So Nick Percat coming home to win that one by 9/10 of a second over Cody Bircher. Benjamin Daly coming home to finish in 3rd place. Jake Donaldson in 4th. And then you got Girton, Freeman, Quinn, Grubel, Limmer and Steve White. Great job coming home in P10 there. Then Behaga, Bates, Bjerke, Jackson Cordes, Thomas Kircher, Richards and Freeman down to 18th spot. We'll go over the page and check out where the final positions lie. And it was Goodman, Owen down there in 20th place, Evans, Jake Foraker really unlucky there to finish up in 22nd when he was leading that race with that computer crashing on him. And Liston down there in 23rd, Donald in 24th, McHugh, Allen, Nilsson, rounding out your 27 drivers for tonight's event. This has been the Formula Ford Australian eChallenge. Round number 3, we're back again in a couple of weeks' time at Silverstone. Make sure you put that in your diary, and then we have a big finale at Bathurst, which will be absolutely fantastic. Thanks everyone for tuning and watching. My name's Luke, and we'll see you again very, very soon. And thanks to all the sponsors for Formula Ford and also my broadcast partners. Thanks, guys. See you soon.